hands once, clap your hands twice. Now is the time for the news to hear.
That's
What would you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? What was yesterday? Saturday. The day before that, Friday. Oh, I went to the gym yesterday
Hell yeah,
with
dude, huge.
Jesse and his buddy from Texas. So that was cool. And then after that, I didn't do too much. I just chilled at home. And then I think Friday. What did I do Friday? Oh, I went to the driving range. So that was fun. Yeah, actually, I don't golf at all. This was maybe my second time in my life golfing.
Okay.
And what's funny is, so it was actually pretty packed, like for everything going on. So I was like, okay. But it was funny, so I'm hitting it and I'm just bombing. I'm whiffing every swing. Well, a couple of them go backwards somehow. I'm like, that's physically impossible. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I guess one almost hit somebody behind me and I didn't notice. And I turned around and I just see the look of fear on their face. And I was like, oh, I bet, dude. I was like, yeah, golfing's definitely not for me. Not my sport at all.
Yeah. It's funny because my sister's really into golf. Like her and her ex-boyfriend, they used to go golfing all the time. She was on the golf team, right? Yeah. But I could just never get into it. I mean, I like it. I love the country club aspect. I love the whole idea of business with the buds, Just talking shit about the wives,
The wives.
How's Jenny?
How's Jenny?
That fucking cow. But it's just too boring for me. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting. I do want to get into it. I mean, I did want to until I almost hit someone, and then that that kind of dream was gone right after that. But yeah, dude, I went full out. I had a polo on, a nice pair of Chubb shorts on. I was right. I had my Adidas on. I looked like I actually knew what I was doing.
And then people were like, "What?
So this
Poser."
Poser. Get him out of here. Get him off the range.
Security.
Security didn't even have my own set of gloves. Using my friend's gloves.
That's fucking funny.
Jeez. Yeah, it was bad. It was no good.
Hey, so what do you think of the PS5 trailer and games? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it, and I'm pretty excited for it, because at first I was kind of like, I mean, either way I was gonna get the PlayStation 5 because I'm more of a PlayStation over Xbox guy anyway. But I actually starting some beef already in the cast, bro. Already console
Xbox all the way. Let's go.
Console wars. But the games look pretty cool. Definitely the Miles Morales Spider-Man game looks dope. I was pretty excited for that. And then they showed a new Hogwarts game.
Oh,
dude. Hogwarts. That I think was what sold me.
Dude, that got my heart, bro.
I'm getting this game.
I was such a fucking slut for Sorcerer's Stone, bro. Yo, dude, I love that game so much, and I never beat it. I could never get part of this one level, bro. And I'm still depressed till this day.
Do you ever think back to games back in the day you played? You're like, man, I never beat that because I couldn't figure it out.
Exactly. Or
so
you just forgot about it?
I just forgot about it. I'm like, man, all the games just wasted potential.
Just so much money, bro. It's crazy how much money one game is. And I just downloaded the Xbox Stream thing, and they're like $15 a month for 100+ games. I'm like, what?
Right.
And I can play on my phone too?
Yeah, and you can play on your phone. So it's actually a pretty good deal, yeah.
That's how I want a game. I want to have all these games where I can just pick and choose. Don't have to buy anything, just pay a flat fee.
Right, that's it.
And it's crazy how everything's just, we used to put value, right? Mm-hmm. To vinyl, DVDs, CDs. Now it's just we were lying to you this whole time. Like you could just get this digital piece and just pay a flat rate.
Flat rate. That's it.
It's crazy how just just markets are changing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because think even back in the day, games were like $40, $30, $40, and
$60,
and then it went up to 60. Like it just kept climbing up, and then finally, I think now Sony was saying their games are going to cost $70 now, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's almost $100
talk
for a game that I'm probably going to be in 10 plus hours.
Dude, I do not have that attention span, bro. I cannot. Like when people say that, I'm like, what? Like it just doesn't. I can't. I wish, dude. I wish I had that focus and that just like, let's do this. Let's keep it. I just get bored so fucking quick. That's why streaming games is the way to go. I can just like switch games. I don't have to care about beating it.
Right.
It's
exactly.
always gonna be there. I'm not like I'm paying a flat fee, so it's like.
Right. And that's why I feel like single player games are dying out, because I feel like because you have multiplayer now. Everybody wants to play a multiplayer game. You want to play with your friends. Like no one wants to sit and play the single player story. Like think when you buy Call of Duty, it's like, I mean, there probably still is people out there who still play the campaign. But when I buy Call of Duty, I'm like, I want to play multiplayer, and I was like, I don't care about the campaign. Like, I'm here for the multiplayer.
The multi.
But yeah.
What did you think of the the Xbox? New Xbox. Did you see how it looks?
It looks good, but the thing with the Xbox is like it has nothing coming out, like no real games or anything. So it's like already Sony is beating them in sales. But where I'm at with Xbox is because I have the same thing you got, that like pass or whatever. So I just on my PC just play all the Xbox games because Microsoft is all one thing. And also I feel like Microsoft, instead of focusing on consoles, they're focusing more on like technology and stuff. So like Xbox is technology, but focusing on actual like phones and computers and things like that. I think they're kind of not giving up gaming, but it's not their focus as much anymore.
Dude, did you see that huge smart board? I guess it's not a smart board, but it fucking looks like a smart board. It's like fucking huge, and dude, it's going for $25,000.
Oh dang!
Yeah, it's like some kind of like weird, like it's like half a wall size.
Okay.
Like
I just remember the smart boards at Calvary, dude. It was like in every classroom.
Bro, you want to hear a crazy story about a smart board?
Let's hear it.
Let's go, dude.
A little bad.
A little bad.
I've already settled it in court, all right? This is a crime warning, right?
It's crime warning.
Okay, so
this story starts off a long time ago in summers of 2012. So me and the homie, you remember Alan?
I do remember Alan. the homie Alan, dude.
The weirdo Alan. What was his deal?
What was his deal?
Really, he just like showed up at the hotel one time. Were you there?
Dude. Where was it at?
I don't remember which hotel. He just like showed up.
I was like, oh, hey.
Oh yeah, it was it was during prom, the little like prom party we had in the hotel.
He just showed up.
He just showed up. I remember now.
What's up?
Back to it. It just it was really weird. Like he was weird. The vibes were weird.
He was like, this is weird.
Everything was just off. Yeah.
It's like a little off.
But dude, so this whole thing started because my homie, or Alan, homie number 5, he left his computer outside, right? Because we had this party at this house with all his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we had his laptop and shit, and like we were like Skyping people and just doing illicits and shit. Right? And then like in the morning we like went and dropped the computer off at his house, which was literally right next door, but his parents were still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So he just left it outside. I didn't know he did that because I would have told him like, yo, jump over the gate and put it behind the gate.
Right.
So he left this shit outside the gate. We go down to like Taco Bell, got some food,
Some good eats.
some good eats. We like drove to the casino because his parents always gambled, got some money. Because they always just gave him money, dude.
Right.
Like, it was just like an unlimited bankroll. Like, let's go see my dad. He'll give me some money. Because his dad made like $300,000 a year.
Oh,
He
gosh.
gambled it all. Like, I'm telling you, he gambled probably like $200,000 worth of it.
Jeez. That's something I'm definitely happy I don't struggle with.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
man.
So we come back to his place around like 1 or 2. Dude, his shit was gone. Someone stole his Apple laptop, bro. Right?
Oh,
And
dang.
this set the tone for summer of 2012.
This is where our story picks up.
The year of graduation. But dude, so he was like, dude, I gotta get money for this shit, right? And I was like, yo, I know a place that we can be criminals and do some shit. So we went to my old charter school, right?
Mhm.
This is old charter school. I was like, yo, when I was in 8th grade, someone broke in and stole a bunch of shit, right? Because the door was unlocked, right? And I was like, yo, I bet if we go back now. So, dude, this is 8th grade. So,
Right.
what year would that be? I don't even know.
Is that...
What is
Say
that?
run back in time. Does it just go back a little? Well, would it be like 2008?
Yeah, let's say
Yeah,
that.
let's
2008.
say that. The senior year, 12th grade. I feel like
Yeah.
it makes sense. The math's adding up.
I think the math's adding up. Good call. So 2008, that happened, right? And I was like, dude, that's so weird. There's no like broken windows, no picked locks, no
Right.
nothing, right? The door was unlocked, right? So we go back, and I was like, let's try it. We go in. I open the door, dude. The alarm goes. I was like, oh, they added a alarm.
Right. So they're smarter now.
So, dude, I'm telling you, we ran in. We're like, what can we get? All for this fool's laptop, dude. That's how down I was.
Down
Right?
for the homie, dude.
Right? And there was nothing, right? And then we went to it's the same school, right? And this is all backed by the government, right? Charter schools are.
Right.
So we're good. Taken from the government. Taxpayers' money, right?
Right.
So then we go to this one, and it was a high school.
Mhm.
So we literally just opened the door to that one too. Right?
Right.
And then we went to another one and opened the door to that one too.
Just endless doors.
Yeah. Open. Bro, it was 4th of July. We go into this one, and dude, there was a smart board. I was like, yo, we're taking this shit. I like Googled the fucking price. I was like, let's go. I'm like fucking running with it, bro. I try to put it in his fucking car. It
Oh my
wouldn't
gosh,
fucking
yeah.
fit. It wouldn't fit. I'm like, ah. Like we already had like a TV, some laptops, like trying to like, put it in. I was like, it's not gonna fit. I just throw this shit in the fucking bush and we can go.
Oh my god.
So it's this $30,000 smart board was just hanging out on a bush.
Jeez. Did you have little masks on, hide your identity? Nope.
No,
Went in
but
raw,
we
dude.
got the footage.
We got the foot.
We got into the security place, got the hard drive. We did it right.
We did all right. We covered our tracks till
Don't
today.
do crimes. Don't do crimes.
Till this
2012.
podcast.
Don't tell the cops, right? Still on the
Don't
run.
share this.
Why do you think I'm always traveling, bro? It's because of that.
Just avoiding the cops, dude. You kind of look like a jailbird right now, dude. You got your stripes and your
Dude, at Trader Joe's, the fucking chick that was checking us out said that to me. She's like, "You look like you just robbed the bank." I'm like, that's how you start this conversation.
Right.
You
Yeah,
look
that's
like you
right.
robbed the bank.
So you got any money?
You got any money, buddy?
So how you plan on paying for this, huh?
Oh man. But yeah,
Oh
that's my experience with smart boards.
That's crazy. Yeah, never. Yeah, I wouldn't say I've done the same.
Yeah, dude, that's
Oh my
that was a
gosh.
crazy time.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like that's the only time I've ever done something like that.
So
Was
did a
for
serious
schools-
crime.
Yeah. For some reason, we needed to raise $6,000, $16,000 for his laptop. Like I don't know why, but
So never found his laptop or anything.
never found his laptop. But we did get 15 other laptops.
To get 15 more.
But they were an Apple. But dude, oh man, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
But I guess onto the movie.
Yeah, let's do it, dude. On to the movie. Our little project.
Our weekly movie. So every week we're gonna be reviewing a movie.
Oh.
We both watched it, and if
Both
we ever
watched
have guests on here, they're gonna watch a movie too.
I'll watch it too, and also talk about their life and how it incorporates with the movie.
Exactly. So
Just kidding. So our movie for this week I believe it's a Netflix original, a Netflix original called The Devil All the Time. So we'll kind of start spoiler free first. I feel like, spoiler free review. So I'm thinking. No, what I'm thinking. What am I even trying to say? But no, actually, what's crazy is the cast in this movie. Like,
is insane.
there's a lot of stars in this movie.
Oh, for
A
real.
lot. So you have our boy Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland.
Hell yes.
So we have the new Batman, Robert Pattinson's in there. Bill Skarsgård, who he was actually the dad in this movie. Willard, I believe his name is, which is Pennywise from It.
Hell yes. And there's like 5 Scargars.
Uh-huh.
They're all brothers. They're all good looking. Like
Okay.
all making, and they're all actors.
I was going to say, so they're all actors. Yeah. So they're like the new Baldwins, bro.
Yeah.
Except I think Alex, the only big one. Dude, one of the actors in this movie, Harry Melling. So for you Harry Potter fans out there, that is Neville Longbottom, dude.
Oh,
He was in this movie. He was the original Reverend or whatever, Roy Lafferty.
Yeah.
That was him, dude.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that until so one of the scenes it showed his face and I was like, oh my god, that's Neville Longbottom.
Dude, that's so crazy. It didn't even dawn on me, man.
Right? It hit me just mid scene,
Just
just mid scene, and I was like, I know this guy. Slap in the face.
Wake up!
Wake up! Wake up! But yeah, and then Sebastian Stan's in here, who is the Winter Soldier in the Marvel movies. So it was like, dude, it was a good cast. There was a lot of actors, so I feel like definitely a big budget for sure.
100%. All pale and white.
All pale and white, yeah, no color in this film
And religious.
at all. And very, very religious. Yeah, the movie, I believe, is based off a book. I don't know if it's like a true story or not, but basically it's about a young man who is devoted to protecting his loved ones in a town full of corruption and sinister characters. So yeah, spooky. So it was a good mystery, like thriller. Oh, and then also Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the producers on this movie.
When I saw that, I was like, dude, there's Jakey boy, dude.
Yeah,
I got
Jakey
so
boy.
happy, bro. I was
Same.
like, this is why this fucking movie's so fucking good. He has such good fucking taste.
Dude, such great taste, dude. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, man. I'm a Gyllenhaal fanboy, dude.
No homo.
No
It's
homo.
okay. It's okay to be homo.
It's okay. No shame here. But dude, it was a very pretty dark movie. It was kind of slow, not gonna lie. I was like the first almost like hour or so. It was kind of like it was pretty slow and until it started picking up. But I guess we can start going spoilers now. But it's cool, like, because it's just kind of like a thing of, is it destiny that brings us all together, or is it just sheer chance? because the whole movie is just like everyone. It's like everyone's lives intertwining, like all the characters, like they either met each other somewhere before or something, and so it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was like they talk about the devil, right, in the title, but they barely say anything about the devil in the movie. It's always about God, right? But then there's no God because it's all humans doing all the violence, all the negative things because they want to, right?
Right.
And like you said, it's all intermingling, like some kind of weird destiny. However, it's still chaos.
Right.
It's like this weird, like, balancing act, and they're all like blaming it on, God, I guess.
I could see that because it's
Right?
more like I feel like in those smaller towns, like religion is like a big thing, like more in those smaller towns, and we kind of got to see the corruption of that too as well. And it's just like because even the beginning, basically the beginning of the movie, Willard, which is Arvin's dad, Tom Holland's dad in the film, shows him returning from war. So this was like in the 50s, 60s, I'm assuming. So just got home from the war, and it kind of starts off with him first, and his family's very religious. And at one of the scenes, when he was writing his mom, he was like, "Oh, I started praying again," and stuff. And it just showed like it's almost like with the religion how like crazy people. Well, I don't want to like say people are crazy, but they're crazy.
They're crazy.
Like
Let's
be
honest.
Crazy for religion. Like the scene, his wife is she's dying from cancer, and they're going out and praying, him and his son, and he's just like smacking him on the head and so, like telling him like, "You pray right now, boy." It was just like
forcing that. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it's like you're forcing someone to be religious.
Mm-hmm.
Then how is that true?
Right.
How is it a true thing if you're forcing someone to feel this way? So that's not natural. If you're forcing someone to believe in a programming, right? Then that's not natural. Like the idea of being natural is just like what we currently are and what we think about, right? And naturally doing good things. And I think that's what it also played with too. It's like the most violent dude, right? Mm-hmm. Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
What's his name? Arvid.
Yeah.
Fucking weird name.
I know.
Arvid. Aardvark. Arby's. Arvid. He was like the most like chill character, but he did the most fucking violence. Right? It was just so fucking violent, but for a good reason.
For a good reason, yeah.
For a fucking good reason, and then everyone else that was pretending to be religious were the people that were the evil ones. Right? The sheep in wolf's clothing kind of theory, you know?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Right? And everyone wanted to have some kind of weird power, right? They're reaching out for this power. Like, I want power. Like, God's going to give me this power. I know, like entitled. Like, this, like, delusion that they're entitled to some kind of supernatural power that, since they're so holy, right? They're just going to be sent upon so they can resurrect their wives after they fucking kill her. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, right? Spoiler, all spoilers now. But even like with the sheriff, basically it just shows corruption in like all things. So you're introduced to the sheriff. He's in the car getting a little getting his rocks off.
Did you see how they did that? They're like, look at, he has a small penis. She was like. She was barely going up, dude. Her hand was like. I was like, dude, they did him dirty.
already him. He's like, I'm running for mayor or whatever he's running for, maybe lead of the officer or whatever. And he's like, people can't know about us and stuff. And basically, we're introduced to him and how he connects with Arvin, Tom Holland's character, is when the dad he kills himself, and so the police come up, and they didn't make it clear, but I think it was Arvin who hung his dog on the cross, which was crazy when they showed up and they just showed that.
I love that.
See, that was I was like, oh my god, and it was just like. it ties in with the religious aspect. Like maybe he was trying to resurrect his dog and bring his dog back. But like even just the craziness the dad went to, because like it does like in earlier times in the Bible, Old Testament times, like sacrifice and stuff. Like he was kind of trying to go more to that aspect. But it's also too, I feel like he was a very militant man as well. So that's why you saw like the forcing on like his son and stuff like that too. But
yeah, it was interesting because it was like the hanging of the dog on the cross was like almost symbolic to like innocence is dead now.
Mhm.
Arvin, your mom died, your dad killed himself, and your dog's on the cross, right? This sacrificial lamb is the
Mhm.
death of innocence, right?
Right.
And the death of the dad's innocence was in war
Mhm.
when that guy was on the cross,
Right.
right? So it like just
Oh yeah, because that was the first.
yeah, that
scene you
first
see
scene,
yeah.
and that's when he
Mhm.
stopped praying,
Right.
right? Which means stop praying means he lost his fucking innocence. He said, "It's all me. There's no such thing as like God," which is that right. The idea of God is like this innocence, like spirit, right? That like possesses people. Like, oh, I have the armor of Christ, right?
Mhm.
I have innocence, right? That's why like sex is like only for marriage. Like, let's always be nice to everyone, right? But in this movie, it's showing that it's always about yourself.
Mhm.
If you let other people come in, right?
Mhm.
They all have their own agendas,
Right.
which we see throughout the movie. Everyone has their own agenda, and they're all saying they're these certain characters,
Mhm.
which they're the exact opposite.
The exact opposite.
Exact opposite, right? The realest ones are the ones that are getting the most shit done to them.
Yeah. Right.
Like it's that J. Cole song, right?
Mhm.
Middle Child,
Oh yeah, middle child. Yeah.
where it's like the realest ones are in jail.
Mhm.
What is that? Do you know that lyric? What is that?
Lyric,
Let's see.
I'm gonna sip my tea real quick.
What kind of tea you drinking?
Peppermint tea.
Oh,
Good for the stomach, yeah.
for the stomach. Okay, says what we got. What we got? Something you feel and about scrod. Something. Yeah, it's not in the song, so
It's not. It actually
Wrong
wasn't
song.
middle child.
it wasn't Middle Child.
Oh,
But yeah, I love the crucifixion scenes. They were so violent and they were so like like it's because like in religion, right, in Christianity, that's like the holy sign, right?
Mhm.
But then you hang real people on it, it doesn't look too holy,
Yes.
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
holiness,
It's
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That's the evil, right?
All right.
It's literally a torture device,
Mhm.
right? And it's their symbol of purity
Right.
is sacrifice, but
Mhm.
it's a torture instrument.
Right. And then it's interesting while all this is going on in the movie, you also have this serial killer kind of going around, and then he meets. So beginning of the movie, him and Arvin's dad, Willard, don't really mingle except for that one scene in the cafe in the beginning when he walks in, Arvin's dad, Willard, and the serial killer. Actually, let's see if we can find his name for reference because he's also a pretty good actor. Jason Clarke is the
Yes.
actor's name, but his name was Carl in the movie. So you have Caller. You have Carl.
Call her, dude. Just
Yeah,
do it
call-
right now,
Just
bro.
call her, bro. I need to call.
Yeah, you need to call her, bro. Like, stop the cast. Call her.
Right, just call her now. So we have Carl and Willard. So Carl, I believe, is coming out the restroom, and Willard's entering the cafe. And Carl's about to sit, but so is Willard. And I think Carl just sees he's a militant man, just came home from the war. It's like, you know what? Take the seat, buddy. Have a seat. So he sits over, And then the narrator's like, he would meet his girl, love interest, whatever, which is actually they didn't show this yet. You don't find this out till later in the movie, but the server he meets, she is the sheriff's sister. So he meets her, and then he meets his wife, who dies of cancer later in the movie. But so you have this also going on in the background, as well as just this corrupt town and everything. Well, actually, it took place in like different towns, because once, I believe, after Willard died, that's when Arvin, he moves with his uncle and grandma, and that's where like the rest of the story takes place.
Yeah, and then also Wilbur, he met the serial killer's girlfriend at that bar, where the brother was keeping it like under wraps because they had a fucking brothel.
Oh yeah, in the back, a brothel in the back.
Yeah, which
and
is
that's where he.
That was a really good scene.
That was good.
Visually, that scene, I fucking loved it.
Mm-hmm. That's also where he got the idea to sacrifice the animal, because he saw the deer head right above that. So there's a lot of stuff going behind the scenes. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of things taking place, and then
a lot of sacrifice.
Well, actually, a lot of sacrifice, and like you said, the losing of innocence. Arvin. After that, Arvin, he's basically he's still a good kid, but you know he takes care of his new. I guess like his sister. You know, she's getting bullied by those kids at school and stuff like that, and it takes it back to that scene when it was him and his dad in the truck, and his dad got out and beat that dude, that one dude up.
So violent and so good, bro.
Dude, very good. Yeah.
So good. Like, I love that scene. Like, top scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this guy's a fucking badass. There's no forgiveness. There's no dialogue.
Right.
I mean, there might have been a couple words exchanged, but dude, it was so brutal. He's like, ah! Like they put the bag over his face. Don't do it.
Oh yeah,
no.
he.
My bad. Wrong scene.
Wrong scene.
That's fucking Archills, or what the fuck is that?
Arvin, Tom Holland. We'll just stick with Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Spidey. Yeah, I mean, those scenes mirrored each other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the fucking dad and then him just mirroring the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, because that's when it took the symbolism, because I forgot what his dad said to him when they were in the truck after he got done beating him up, but he was like, basically because he was getting, Arvin when he was younger was getting bullied when he was a kid. So he's like, basically, do this to those kids, and like when they start bullying you. And then it was crazy, the narrator was like, this was probably one of the best days Arvin had with his father. And it was just like such a violent, like a moment of memory or whatever with his father, but it was like it had sort of that meaning to it. And you kind of see with Tom Holland's character, like him battling a lot of stuff, especially the scene when he walks in, and Robert Pattinson's character, who we haven't really got into yet, who's the Reverend, and the Reverend's sitting there and he's pointing the gun at him first. It's like you almost see at the moment he's like, I'm not like these other people. Like, I'm not just a stone cold killer. Like there has to be good to what I'm doing. So he ends up sitting down instead of just shooting him, you know.
Yeah.
Cold. Yeah.
Which I want to bring it back to this lyric, right? So Fit for a King, they're a Christian like metal band.
Okay.
And they have this line in there, and it says, "All I know is violence."
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's exactly, I feel like, how Tom Holland like felt, right? And his dad, right? It just like kept getting passed down and passed down. So it's almost like you could like say that it's like destiny, right?
Right.
Or is it just being exposed to that? But like, I mean, from day one, right? The innocence is just losing, and then it's just like two extremes, right? Super innocent, like super devoted to God, like everyone's good. One like sense of like no control and violence and gore changes his whole life and just went the exact opposite. Like all I know is violence now, right? So let's just go. Like that was his like his plot.
Mhm.
He didn't even have really any scenes, like any like real like dialogue. He
Mhm.
was just fucking beating people's asses and taking names. You know what I'm saying?
Taking it.
Protector.
He was just snapping necks and cashing checks, dude.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, like I said, he just immediately loses his innocence. Like, what a just horrible. Like, he's probably like 9 years old when we see him. Like, loses his mom, his dog, and his dad. He's exposed just to death, basically. And
Yeah.
then after it goes another, because so it did kind of like a lot of not too many time skips, but it would be like 7 years before or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it shows the girl. So we end up meeting the girl later, which is Arvin's stepsister, but only because they live together. But it shows her mom, and she's married to Neville
Roy.
Longbottom, Roy.
Roy.
And I remember he's like sitting in the. This is actually when I realized who he was when he was sitting in the closet, and then he comes out, and he was like, "I got it, I got like get the car ready or whatever," and he picks up his wife and they go drive out to the field or whatever. But then he just like, it's crazy because they're just sitting there about to pray or whatever. Bam, screwdriver right to the neck, takes her out, and then he's like, "All right, God, like resurrect her," and it's like, what?
So much emotion,
So
and
much
so much
emotion.
of just like, where's your God now? Like literally, like you're a crazy person. Like that scene, without saying anything, is like,
Mhm.
this guy's crazy. He thinks there's some magical powers, and he fucking hated his wife the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's all for himself. Like literally, he's like the embodiment of just like self, like loathing.
Mhm.
Right? He's like, oh, I know God told me to do this, and bring it back. Like,
Yeah, bring me
what?
back.
He's like,
It-
God, bring it back. Bring it back. Like, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's funny because it's like it was calm at first. Like he was calm. Like, all right, she's coming back. Like he really was like in his mind, like she's coming back to life. And he's like, all right, wake up,
Amazing
God, I'm here. I mean, you remember, like, supposed to bring her back to life, please. But it's funny, like when he goes back in the car and they him and I think the guy's name was Theodore, the guy in the wheelchair, and he was like, "You just look like a crazy person. Like we can't tell."
Oh, yeah,
the
he was like-
cops."
So it looks like you murdered your wife for God. You bring her back. And now you just look like a crazy person.
"You just look like a crazy
He's like,
person."
Shut up.
Shut
Maybe I am. And he literally ditched his ass.
Yeah, he
What
ditches
happened?
him.
Dude, didn't they just leave that line open?
When he ditches him, or
Yeah. Didn't they?
yeah, he just left him. No,
Just-
because that's when he meets the serial killer Carl, him and his girlfriend.
Exactly. But I'm saying, like, what happened to the guy in the wheelchair?
Oh yeah, they just kind of left that open.
They just kind of like left that because like he can't drive.
No, he can't drive at all.
So, dude, he must have just died.
Yeah.
Unless he was like screaming and someone saw him.
Well, the thing is too, because I guess he is like a witness to murder, so he could have got in trouble. But remember, they said they discovered her body 7 years later. So I'm assuming what happened was maybe he got in trouble for it because when they discovered the body, maybe he came in and witnessed to what happened. I don't know. They didn't really go too much because no one knew where Roy went. No one knew he was dead,
yeah.
which led into the next scene. He meets Carl and his wife, and we're introduced to what they've been doing the whole time on the road. So they're, he's pimping her out, and then basically kills him right after that.
I mean, I don't think it's pimping. I think he's cucking her. I think this is what it was, right?
he was holding her hostage, right?
Mhm.
At first, it was like, oh, this is fun. Oh, this is kind of kinky, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, he likes to be cucked. I get to fuck all these dudes. I guess is a form of like pimping her out, right?
Yeah, and then like you said, you do introduce it. I don't think it was right away. They were like, she's like, I'm into this, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And then, but it was kind of sloppy, right? Because
mhm.
Roy was like the first guy.
Roy was the first guy that we saw. I don't know if it was like when it started, but yeah, Roy was the first, and he was like, no, I'm not doing this.
Like, still thinking he's a good guy after he murdered his wife.
I think he came to a point of acceptance. Like
He forgave himself.
not forgave himself, but he's paying for his sins. Like he's paying for what he just committed. So it's like was it like an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth? So I would say a death for a death. I would say best way
I can
to
see that.
explain it. And I think he just came to the acceptance of that because there's always this theme in the movie. They look up to the sky, and it's always kind of like death was kind of a reoccurring topic that was brought up in the movie. So it's like kind of what, even though he was a pastor or reverend, whatever you call him, it was like you read in the Bible about death, but we don't know death for sure. So it was kind of like bringing that up. So they kept looking up, and it was like that shot with the trees like pointing up, which was like it was like some cool imagery, but like that was definitely a reoccurring thing.
Yeah. I mean, I love the part where they're like showing the Polaroids.
Oh, the Polaroids, yeah.
Like that, I love that when they show Polaroids and dude, all those different scenes. It was so creepy. It was all black and white.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, dude, I was like, yes, like
it's like
so
detailed.
Yeah, dude, it was so detailed, and it was just like this weird like, because that was like the other extreme, right? You got all these good people that are like, we don't want to listen to all our sins, right? You know,
Right.
Gluttony, like sex, all those like negative things in Christianity, right? And these people, they were doing the exact opposite. They said, we're going to do exactly what we want.
Right.
And we're going to kill as many people as we want. And we got the protection of the law.
Yep.
He's going to cover it up.
You're going to cover it. Yeah, so it was a lot of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Yeah, in that mood. So it was a lot of just like doing the opposite of what is told. And it was very interesting. So honestly, going into before I go into the character, Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson, they like their dialect and their accents and stuff. Oh, it was so good. And like these are both, I'm assuming, British actors. Like they just like got Robert Pattinson's voice. Like his was just like, it was perfect. It was cracking me up because it was like you don't hear that voice from him. Like you're like, this is him. So I definitely given that up to him. But we're introduced to him. I want to say like halfway through the movies when we're introduced to Robert Pattinson's character,
which I think is when it started to speed up. Right?
That's when it started picking up.
Right? When we start to see that, okay, there's a new guy in town, right? Little flashy, got a nice car,
right?
Got a hot wife, right?
He's a good-looking guy too.
Good looking dude.
You saw all the girls like, who is this guy? Who's this charmer?
Dude, I love this scene so much. It's like, should we get the good meats? Tom Holland's grandma. No, I guess we'll just get they were chicken livers, right?
Yeah, chicken livers, yeah.
Chicken livers. And then like the narrator's like, she was the best cook in town.
Right. It said when she found God, that's when she started.
Bro, the way they set this shit up and the way they had the church just like, they were like on their knees, like they looked so innocent, like, oh, eat our food, right? Like he was like Jesus or something, dude. They're like, oh, we're so excited. It was like pathetic. It was fucking pathetic. The way they were just like, oh, the new preacher, like right? And he's like, starts loading his plate up. Like nice ass suit, like loading his plate up, and he's like, oh, what's this? He's like, what's this shit? He's like, well, I think I'm gonna sacrifice myself. You guys can have all the good meat, and I'll eat this this piece of shit. These chicken burnt livers.
But what's funny about that scene is like, because she gives him the plate first, And remember, he dips his fingers in, and he's like you see the satisfaction in his face. Like he was like, "Dang, these are good. I'm gonna keep them to myself." So he tried to play and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna." I'm gonna sacrifice myself and eat these chicken livers for you guys. Because even Tom Holland's like, man, he probably just wanted to play for himself. He was like, let me just pray over this one. Like, just completely embarrasses her in front of the whole congregation or whatever.
Oh, bro. That was like the most fucked up scene of like call out, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I've ever seen in a movie. Like I've never seen that quiet, like right, and then call out. Like I've never seen like a call out like that. Just embarrassing her ass in front of all her peers.
Right.
And everyone knows that she's the best cook.
Exactly.
He's like, not today. I'm the cook. I'm the best cook. Like pretty much that's what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, no, even you're the best cook you love, not good enough. I'm good enough. It's
So
me.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the captain now.
So I've run this now. And then basically how he's introduced is he the nephew of the original priest or something like that. He was, I don't know, he was in some sort of relation. He just finished Bible college. So that's how his character was introduced into the movie. But also Tom Holland's sister in the movie, Arvin's his stepsister, Lenora. It was funny because it was similarities between her and her mom. Because in the beginning of the movie, the mom falls in love with the original reverend or the pastor at that time, Tom. And then you see Lenora. She starts like you could see her attraction to Robert Pattinson's character, the reverend. So it's kind of like she's about to do the same thing her mom just did. And that's it's very interesting when him and her were sitting in the car together, and he was like, "Have you something with the priest or whatever?" And she was like, "Oh, we've left before or something." It was just crazy to me. Is like, it's sad because this probably still is a thing today. 100%. These higher like your pastors and stuff, whatever, they're twisting the word, the Bible or God's word into their own pleasures, making it not seem wrong. And like he even says the little prayer right before, he's like, God, she's revealing her body before you today.
That's what he said. He said, have you ever showed you God's body or something like that? It's like the body. Yeah, something like have you ever showed your God's body before? Like, well, we went before. Oh no, she was like, my birthday suit.
Yeah, my birthday suit.
Like so innocent,
right?
My birthday suit. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta show it up. I'm like,
right.
Oh my god, it was so cringy, bro.
Super
cringe fest.
So it's like you see how corrupt this reverend is already off the back. He's with, it's not even, and two, Lenore is like underage too as well. Yes. So he's with this underage woman, has a wife at home, things like, so we're already introduced to what this guy's doing. Like he's bad news. This guy's trouble.
Yeah, he's trouble. He's probably got kicked out of the other town for doing the same shit.
Right.
Or the same motherfucking shit. Right. And then Tim Holland fucking sees that shit. Mm-hmm. He sees that he's sleeping with a bunch of girls. Right. He sees how he's acting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then Lenora, this part kind of cracked me up. I can't remember what he says word for word, but Lenora comes back to him, and they're talking in the chapel. I think it's the nighttime scene, and she's basically telling him, "Hey, I'm pregnant." And he's like, "How am I the daddy?"
Yeah, he's like, that never happened, sweetie. You're delusional.
Yeah, you're delusional. He's like, sometimes your sin
goes back to his sermon about being delusional of your sin.
Right, of your sin.
Sweetie, you're delusional. That never happened.
Yeah, that never happened. Like he just somehow just like, this is not reality. What you thought me and you did is not real. But I love that sermon. Well, I didn't love the sermon, like what he's talking about, but it was just like scene for scene. So you see it like cuts to the sermon and it cuts to Lenora, and like because because you see her before she's throwing up and Tom Holland's taking care of her and she's already regretting missing church. So it goes like, it's like kind of like scene for scene. Like you'll see the sermon scene, then you'll see Lenora, and it like cuts back and forth. And then she's like, basically she's in her mind, because it cuts back to Robert Pattinson saying like, basically get rid of it. So her thought is, well, I'm going to go, we don't know at the time, but she basically, yeah, end it right here and right now, you know? So she ends up committing suicide. But sad is right when she realizes, you know, I don't need to do this. It's done. The bucket's gone. She can't save herself. And then you just
God's will.
It's God's will. And then Robert Pattinson's character, delusions. So it was cool, just like hand in hand, like everything, like he caused this. Like basically, it's his fault. This all happened. So
Just that shit's so crazy, dude. Standing on the bucket, got the rope around your neck, and she said, "Nah."
yeah. So no, I'm good. Like that's horrible. Yeah. So it was sad, and then it's also too adds to Arvin. It's already building Arvin's character. Like he's just like pretty much only knows death. I feel like, and it feels
Exactly.
And it doesn't happen. Tom Holland doesn't start following the Reverend Robert Pattinson's character till after Lenora passes away, and then when he's about to. So I'm assuming it's the end of the school year because he's working on the freeway. I'll just call it the freeway. So he's working on the roads, and the cop
got that
comes.
job. He got that job with the.
Job. I guess some friend introduced him to it, but then the cop shows up on his day, and he was like, Lenora was pregnant. And he's like, well, he's a liar. The coroner's a liar. And then that's when he starts tailing Robert Pattinson's character. But also, I'm wondering when this movie was shot, because as we know, Robert Pattinson's going to be the new Batman.
Yeah.
And there's that scene when it shows him back home with his wife, you know, and his wife performing a little, you know, foreplay, mouth stuff, you know, with the mouth. And you just see Robert, he like opens up his shirt and you just see a gut. And I'm like, this has to be before Batman, because I feel like he's fit now. He better not look like that for Batman. He better not be looking like that.
That shit's so funny, dude. And it's weird because it's like that suicide scene, right? And it's death of two innocents, right? And it's just like Arvid just needs to go, dude. Everyone's dying around him.
Right.
He needs to get out.
Which then so it kind of cuts some time, and he's you see him basically, he's like, I can't tell my uncle and grandma goodbye because what I'm about to do. And actually, which was my favorite scene, is when he goes into the chapel, and like I said, we were talking about it earlier, and he's just like, already he opens the door, Robert Pattinson kind of looks behind, he just sees Arvin, Tom Holland's character, and just like whatever, goes back to his reading. He's like, I believing it's pretty normal for people to just come into the church and sit and pray. 100%. But what the Reverend doesn't see is Tom Holland's just pointing a gun right at his head. And I think this is where he still sort of has his innocence. We did kind of touch back on it earlier, but it's like he had that thought. He's like, I don't want to be like how everybody else is and just shoot him in cold blood. I'd rather this be for good, let him kind of like atone for his sins. And then he sits down and he's like, hey, preacher, you have time for a sinner? And I was like, and he starts explaining everything he's seen to him. And what was nasty is you see Robert Pattinson's character, he's like getting into it. Like, he's like, oh yeah, did you force yourself on? Like, he's getting into what Tom Holland's telling him. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute. It's like, you're talking about me. Like, where'd you get all this information from? And it was like, and it was almost like Tom Holland's character maybe wasn't going to shoot him, but it was like once he threw the Bible, I think it was just quick reaction. He ended up shooting him. And then obviously he's like, I got to finish the job because I already shot him in the hand, you know? So that was a pretty intense scene.
Yeah. And then like, man, that fucking the church and just like in the house of God, right?
Mhm.
Just like right in front of the cross again, bro. Another sacrifice,
Right.
right? But it's weird because it's like a sacrifice for Tom, right?
Hmm.
It's like he's sacrificing these people from his mental state,
All right.
which kind of comes back to like the title, right?
Mhm.
Devil all the time,
Right.
right? Because it's the devil is being selfish
Mhm.
because he's doing all this shit so he feels good about himself
Right.
because he feels like he has to do it for these other people,
Hmm.
which is like some weird ass shit, man. Because it's like, then like, what's good then,
Right.
right? It's just like weird.
Yeah, it's like almost he was in his mind like even though he was doing this for good, it was like still still wrong what he was doing. Because even going back to the sheriff and his little backstory as well, like he was kind of like tied with the mob. It seemed like I don't know if
Yeah.
there's like a mob, like a country mob or
Country
something.
mob.
But like he was tied with him, and then also his sister is doing all these things with Carl. Because remember, it shows him come to the house and she's looking at the pictures. I think she ended up kind of falling in love with whoever that person was in the pictures. Because I don't know, because she was like smiling at him and like, I don't know. So it's weird if it was like she was looking at someone that she didn't care about and she just wants to talk in the mic, dude. But even when he shows up, he knows this is going on, and like she hurry up and puts the pictures away. But of course, one of them falls on the floor, and that's how he kind of like finds out what's going on. So he's trying to keep that under wraps as well, and then also trying to keep his it's not figure, but I don't know, pretty much his. He wants to look good so he can run again, basically for his campaign. So it's like him trying to cover all this stuff up too, as well.
Which, dude, when he went to the mafia guys, I guess we could call them the mafia guys' houses, right? Dude, those fucking execution scenes were brutal, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like so cold-blooded. Like every death scene that had to do with the gun was so brutal. Like it was so like it's like you could hear a pin drop, right? It was so quiet. It was like boom. Like and it was kind of ironic that he was keeping a brothel under wraps for these guys, right? He was protecting them and like keeping it quiet while his sister's having her own brothel and then murdering. You know what I'm saying? Like with this other guy.
Right.
And then he was so ashamed by that, but you're doing it for these dudes and these other girls, right?
Mm-hmm. He's doing the same thing, and that's where again is another sign of hypocrisy. He's doing the same thing that he's trying to cover up his sister doing. Because remember, even his sister says she's like you do wrong too as well, or however she tells him that, which he knows it. He's like, yeah, but and it's like you know,
and I'm not a girl. I'm a sexist.
And it just shows like everybody's like just basically I wouldn't say a hypocrite, but everyone's just doing wrong, and I just feel like coincides like with the devil all the time. Like it's the act of the devil all the time, like the act of the devil all the time. So.
We could say the devil is self and what the self wants, no matter what.
Right.
Right? Like disregarding everyone. Right? It's the devil all the time because it's the idea of the devil is the devil is someone that prevents you from being happy, right? Mm-hmm. So if you say something's bad, Chloe, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, Chloe.
But so the devil all the time, it's like yourself is negative towards someone if it's not going with their game plan, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's the devil all the time. There's the idea of God is this idea that the other person's gonna do good for you. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that's the idea of like, whatever this guy's thinking, please be good. You know, like that's what that shit is.
Right.
Which is it's funny because it's so like they pretend that there's some kind of like, I mean, in Christianity they pretend there's like a devil, but we're all devils, and we're all trying to get exactly what we want, and we're asking for God because we feel like that's the only way we can like kind of like get our consciousness clean, right?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it was just like kind of how everything just ties together because like after Tom Holland does this, he pretty much like he's beaten people up before, but this is murder. Like he killed someone, so he's like you see him, he's trying to grab the bullets, and they're obviously super hot because he just fired the gun. So he's just, at that point he's just like, I got to get out of here, basically. So he leaves, and then the narrator's like, he just kind of felt something pulling him back to where he's originally from, like his hometown, just something there. And which is interesting. It's just like how everyone just meets everyone. So now, as Tom Holland's driving, his car breaks down, and guess what he has to do now? Hitchhike. So now you're already like, oh, he's about to run into Carl and them, which was interesting. I was thinking it was either going to be Tom Holland or Robert Pattinson that runs into Carl and them, and with it being Robert Pattinson because he's he's just crazy. But and then I thought, I was like, oh, he's into younger girls, so he wouldn't fall for for Carl and the other chick, and because remember that he was saying she likes younger guys. Or maybe it was her, maybe it was him. I think it was him. I think he was the one basically pulling all the strings, but I'm sure she had some sort of attraction.
Like, I think it was just, like
her just being a hole, right?
Right.
Like, that's what it seemed like. She was just like the hole, and she just didn't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, she liked him, and I think she, like, kind of went along with it, and then, like, we see at the end of the movie, right? She kind of got over it, but I think it just kind of, like, became, like, you're just trying to kill these dudes. It's not about kinky shit.
Right.
It's about murder.
Right, like satisfying his murderer's spirit or whatever you want to call it. Because there's even moments in the movie that it shows she's done. Like she doesn't want to be a part of it. We have that scene when they kind of show what they've been up to again. It's her just sitting in the car, and she's like, you just see already she's contemplating with herself. And then she backs out, she puts the car in reverse, and then something in her mind, whatever's holding her there, just kicked in again, and she was like, just pulls the car back in and goes inside, and Carl comes out. It's like, what you doing? Like, basically, like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, just couldn't sleep, whatever. But you just see those moments that she's starting to understand what they're doing is not what she wants to do. And I think, like I said, it could have been fun at first, like, but after a while, I think your mental state and everything of you doing this over and over, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then start getting scared, right? Your just anxiety is probably just insane. You're like,
Right.
well, when he's gonna just kill me,
Right? Exactly.
What's stopping him from killing me or her?
Exactly. Yeah, because then and then we're introduced. Then Tom Holland's introduced to them. He gets picked up, and I guess he's going to. Was this? Oh yeah, he's going back home. So he's letting them know basically where he's going. They're like, oh, we're going to Chicago, so we're gonna pass through it anyway. And they end up pulling over, and like he's already kind of weirded out. He's like, we're going down this like road. There's no one on this road. This guy's just like, oh, make a ride up here into these woods over here, and they pull up. They're by the lake, and he's like, oh, I just want to get a couple shots off of this sunset real quick. So you see his spidey senses. Peter Parker, his spidey senses are already tingling. He knows something's up. So he's kind of looking around, and then Carl messes up. He sits up. He shows him the gun. So Tom Holland's like, all right, the stuff's about to go down. and that was a good scene. He was definitely, like I said, spider senses were tingling for sure. And he has his gun ready. And as soon as he sees him make that move, he already shoots her. And it's funny because even though just want to know her name for reference, Sandy, even though she wanted to get away from Carl, it was like he's gone now, but she's still. It was almost like whatever was holding her to him. Like she ends up pointing the gun at Tom Holland and basically like kind of in fear of her own life. And he's like, I don't want to have to do this to you. And they have their little shootout. But it's like honestly, wouldn't you been happy that just happened? It was just for whatever reason her. I mean, I guess you wouldn't be happy you just saw someone you're with shot and killed, but it was like, well, I don't know. Like this is what you wanted though at the end. So it was kind of like a weird her emotions in that exact moment.
Yeah, yeah, because like I thought it was hilarious when he was like, yeah, the old hog's kind of old. Let me go. I gotta pee.
He's like, damn it, I gotta pee.
Like, okay, first of all, creepy.
Yeah.
Right, and then you see the gun, and then because didn't the narrator say like she wanted to get away and she was kind of like almost delusional, like, oh, maybe me and the boy can run away together.
Yeah,
and
something like that, and that's what you thought was gonna happen.
And like have a life. Like what? That doesn't even make sense because like she wanted to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, think about that timeline. If he was pissing and she took the gun out and shot him, right? No bullets, fakes. He turns around, shoots her. Then he has to he already has the gun out, dude. You think Tom Holland would survive or not?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like it would have been the same. He might have shot right when he shot his wife, because already, if say that timeline happened, Carl has to kill Tom Holland's character because he witnessed him murder
100%.
Sandy. But that was interesting because you talked about the blanks and the gun, because it was funny, is like because they cut back to the scene, because when Tom Holland and her have that shootout, and you hear the pop. So I'm thinking, oh, Arvin's dead. And they probably killed each other at the same time. But and it's also too, it's like Arvin, he had some mysterious force like helping him out, because you see this happen again in the later scene. But they cut back before, and they're showing how Carl, he's kind of like basically he's paranoid. Like he already knows. He's like, Sandy's acting a little weird. Let me pop the bullets out of her gun. So it was already set up, and it's like, and it's interesting. It goes back. It's just like certain decisions we make in life leads to certain outcomes. So him putting the blanks in her gun, Tom Holland deciding to drive out to his hometown, and then them driving down and them deciding to pick him up, because remember right before they pick up Tom Holland, they said no one at home, like no one in our area or whatever. And he, for whatever reason, Carl's like, no, let's do it. Let's break my rule that I have and pick him up this one time. And it's just like, you see, it's just like there's consequences to your actions, and it's just like certain decisions can just pretty much just lead you anywhere.
Exactly. How did I'm just trying to remember, because then Archie, right? Arvin. Dude, I don't know why I can't fucking say his name.
So everything but his name.
It's just everything. Arvar, Achilles,
Artemis.
Artemis.
So it's just not
you
sticking.
said it like 20 times, bro.
Right.
Like,
people are gonna listen. They're like, they keep saying, just call him Tom.
just call him Tom. Arvis.
Yeah, Arvis.
That's her name, right? Because then he has that scene with the cop. Dude, that was such a fucking scary scene. Like, so, like, I was like on my seat, like, what's gonna happen? Homie got a shotgun, right? But where did Tom get the rest of the bullets?
Yeah, I think he had bullets left in his gun.
Yeah.
Because I think his clip, I want to say he fired maybe, let's say the clip holds 10 rounds. So I think he shot Robert Pattinson, I want to say like 4 times.
Yeah.
and then he shot 2. So he shot 1 at Carl, once at Sandy. So that's another 2. So he's used 6 bullets. So let's just say he has 4 bullets left in his gun.
Okay.
Well, we'll just go with that.
We're just going with that, guys.
We're just rolling with it. But kind of like how I was saying, it was like it was like almost like a force guiding Tom Holland's character, because it's like he dodged death once with Sandy, and then he dodges death again with the sheriff, because like I said, he comes out there with a shotgun. He's ready to take care of business.
Exactly.
He's gonna blow this dude away into smithereens. So you see him, he's hiding. Tom Holland, he hears like kind of the trees rattling, because I feel like he already knew that his actions, they're coming back for him as well. So he's like, someone's obviously looking for me, because even in I think this is when he realized it, is when he first gets back to his town, and the old guy was sitting in front of his shop, and it ends up being the old man he sits with when his father died, and when he was younger, and he remembers him, and he brings up, he was like, yeah, 2 people were shot about a town or so away from here. And like you see kind of Tom Holland kind of like drop his head, like, oh shoot, like they already know that's happened. And I think the guy realizes it was him, or like kind of has some thought, because he was like, he looks at him and he's like, yeah, come back down here and we can have like a beer and talk or something. Like, so I think he realized that happened. So Tom Holland's character already knew. He's like, all right, they know about me, so they're gonna start coming for me. So he was already on high alert. And then, like I said, once the sheriff got there, he kind of heard the bushes rattling. But what was great also about that scene, when he gets back there, he finds the bones of his dog, and he finally buries him. He finally gets to bury his dog, because in the beginning, remember, that's why he woke up that night, because he was like, I want to give my dog a proper burial, just like we did for Mama. And then he obviously gets up there, and he can't, because his dog's on the cross. But then he finally gets to bury the bones, and then that's when the sheriff comes and they have their shoot off, and then he also tosses the gun away in there. So it was like almost like symbolism of him giving up the violence, like the years of his generational violence or whatever. So his father being in the war, he gives up. He puts the gun away. He's like, I'm giving this up finally. So it's like a good symbolic scene.
Yeah, and it's weird because like you're talking about that invisible force that's kind of leading him,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's almost like all these people are being sacrificed so Tom Holland can survive, like live,
Mm-hmm.
like survive, right? Like he's this kind of guiding force. He's a protector, right? You could say like he's almost the protector of everything, and they're not failures. They're more like a sacrifice to say like, yo, you can keep going. You got to
Mm-hmm.
kind of like seal the deal, bury your dog,
Right.
take care of the people that are, the negative. I guess you could say they were the negative energy that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like coming upon the good people.
Right, exactly. And because even at the end, but it's like almost like you have that symbolism, like it's finally like done. But at the end of the movie, after he ends up winning the shootout with the sheriff, and he's walking again, which is funny, is like after already like him hitchhiking, and he meets the serial killer, like he's still hitchhiking like
He's
that. He's
like,
like, yeah,
dude,
forget it. Yeah, I gotta get somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's funny, he ends up getting picked up by that van, that peace, love, like it's the
Hippie
60s,
van.
yeah, the hippie van. And he gets in there, and it was funny when I was watching this, they zoom in on the driver. So I'm thinking like, oh shoot, is this driver like a serial killer? Because like think back in the 60s, it's big. You have your Ted Bundy, you have what's his name?
Charles Manson. It was
Charles Manson,
Yeah.
I think, during that time. And then you have what's the one? What's his with the blonde hair? Why can't I think of his name?
Ed Bundy.
No, Ted Bundy.
Ed
That's,
Gein.
Ed Gein. Who's the one? What's his name? Oh my gosh, famous serial killer. Why can't I think of his name? They made fun of his name in the Ringer.
I
Dude,
haven't seen that dude. It was like an '01 movie. Like I don't.
Right, yes, bro. What was his name? I feel like his last name. They have a movie of him when he's younger. Let's just see. Let's type in serial killers. My search history and be like Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeez,
Jeffrey
dude,
Dahmer.
Why was that?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. I don't know why that was escaping me.
What movie was that with Jeffrey Dahmer?
He was younger.
My Dahmer?
Friend Dahmer.
Yeah, My Friend Dahmer.
That was actually a really good movie too. So definitely recommend that to the viewers to watch that. But yeah, back to the scene. I'm thinking like maybe this is a serial killer, and then it's like Tom Holland's character. He's fighting, like he doesn't want to go to sleep. Like he's like I don't want to sleep next to the stranger. So I'm like, oh great, he's about to die because he's falling right into his plan. But it was definitely more. It was deeper than that because it was finally him almost being able to rest. Yes. Almost like after everything that's happening. And then also too, he's having you also hear on the radio, I believe it's Lyndon B. Johnson, him talking about the war. So it's almost like Tom Holland now has like thinking of now what's next for me. Like, am I gonna settle down, find a wife and kid, or am I gonna like follow my father's footsteps and go to the war? So it's kind of like he's like thinking of these things, and it just kind of the ending leaves it open, like kind of like what's really next for this character.
See, what I got from that scene is that he was thinking about going to kill himself. Because they were saying what they were talking about was like he was like a place where there was some like no violence, or there was something they were like like the narrator was talking about like this almost like a heaven like place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is apparently death because everyone went there. And it's funny because it's ironic, right? He just went on this violent journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
From day one, violent suicides, death, like pedophilia, like everything, right? Killing the dog, animal cruelty, right? And then he just hitchhikes with a fucking hippie,
right?
The most equality, peace-loving motherfucker, right? It's just so ironic,
right?
Because he's the bad guy, like. He's the negative one now. In the hippies sense, right? He's in the car with a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The tables have turned. He's a murderer now.
Right.
Right? He's the guy he's the hippie that's supposed to be scared of Tom Holland.
Right, exactly. Right? Yeah.
It's weird.
He doesn't know what he just did. Yeah.
Yeah, his character just switched. Like he was like this like positive like reinforcer, protector, like I'm gonna take revenge on everything. But all revenge gets you is you becoming what you're trying to get revenge on.
Mm-hmm.
He became the killer, the serial killer. He became a fucking serial killer. Like, let's be honest.
Right. Killed what? 4 people.
Yeah.
In the span of a couple of days.
And then he gets in a peace-loving hippie van.
Mm-hmm.
Who may or may not be a Charles Manson, which is also a crossover to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ooh, I still need to watch that movie, actually.
What?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I heard it's pretty good.
Oh my! Why haven't you watched that yet?
I don't know what I was supposed to watch it, and I think I just never found the time. But now I have the time, so I
have the time. That's this week's movie or next week's movie, dude.
Next week's movie. I'm down, actually. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, dude. So good.
But going back to Tom Holland's character, it's like even though he was doing these things that are wrong, it was like he was trying to do them in a good way. Oh, what's up, Chloe? You had something to say? But it was almost he wanted to do this in like a good way. So, like I said, going back to the scene in the chapel before he shoots the Reverend, is like kind of like, well, let me atone for his sins first and go from there, because basically, why he We have a special guest, Chloe. I guess we could do like a whatchamacallit now, an ad space, or like Lux and Puff.
Luxandfluff.com
So this episode's sponsored by.
for all your dog and cat's needs and human needs. We got spa products, we got harnesses, we got soaps, everything you want. Luxandfluff.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually saw that you guys have the soap stuff. I was like, okay, it's for humans too, not just for
humans,
dogs.
Yeah. The Lux part is for the luxurious items, and the fluff is for your fluffy animals.
For your fluffy animals. But my dog doesn't have no fluff.
You're out of luck.
You're out of luck.
This is for fluff only.
Yeah, fluff only. But yeah, going back to that scene is like I feel like he didn't want to kill him, but also because what he did to Lenora is basically like he needs to pay. There needs to be some justice. So it was like he's almost doing he was like a vigilante, almost like doing this for justice. Like I believe his intentions were only him, or not even to really only kill him, but to like make him pay for what he did. Because then what happens with Carl and Sandy, that's more self-defense when he kills them.
Oh,
so
okay,
he's like,
yeah, you're right.
So that's more self-defense. Like he was about to, basically he was going to die. And we as the audience knew that if he didn't do anything, he's going to die. But because then you see him go in, I think he goes into his wallet first, takes out some cash or something, and then he goes into Sandy's purse and he finds the picture, a picture of her and whoever was in the photo. That's what makes me think she kind of fell in love with one of the victims. That's why she has some of the pictures she was looking at. And then when our sheriff, is his name Sam? Sheriff Lee. And when he finds him and he tries to tell him, he's like, hey, the only reason why that I killed him, he's like, because basically what they've been doing. He's like, your sister and her boyfriend or husband, they've been doing this. And even before that, when the sheriff finds out about Tom Holland's character, the guy who calls in the crime, he was like, I think he's a good kid, Arvin, like that preacher or whatever deserved his death. But I mean, no one really at the end deserves to be killed, but and even when Tom Holland shoots the sheriff at the end, also self-defense, because the sheriff was out there with the shotgun. But after he shoots him and before the sheriff dies, he explains to him, this is why I had to kill him. And he puts the picture next to him. And I think it was like he was almost trying to like not cover his steps, but he was like, hey, what I was doing it wasn't wrong. Like I'm innocent in a sense. So because I'm doing this for good, if you want to put that in quotations, for good. So it was like a sad story, because like our protagonist of the show or movie, was thrown into all this violence. And then, like you were saying at the end, you thought it was more like of a suicide, because like they were talking about heaven. But I think what it is was like where he grew up, he considers that maybe hell, like a place of hell. And now him leaving there, like leaving that town or leaving Ohio, that's, it's him going to a heaven. Like he's leaving all that behind him, basically. So
yeah, because they were going to Chicago, right?
No, Cincinnati at the end. Chicago is what Carl told him.
Okay. Wait, so were they in West Virginia? I think they were in West Virginia. I think didn't he grow up in West Virginia?
Yeah, he grew up
with his dad, right? In West Virginia.
Yeah, in West Virginia, and then everything else was in Ohio.
Which that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, so I was about to ask how I was watching that and being in Ohio. Did you recognize any places?
Yeah, the trees and the fucking hicks. Yo, dude, there's so many Amish people out here, man. The Amish people are insane out here. They're all in buggies. They all got horses. They're all like, it's like they're in like a cult. I mean, it's pretty much a cult. Like, no, they can't hang out with outsiders, right? They got this store, right, in like outside of Kenton, Ohio, and it's all stuff they got like it's all like almost expired stuff, right? And a lot of it's actually expired.
Right.
Like candy bars that are expired. That never happens.
Right.
But they have this product that is. And like juices and tea that expired. I was like, oh, this is so cheap, dude. I got like 6 candy bars, like 2 drinks, some fruit for $5.
Oh wow.
Then I ate it and I was like, I'm never going back there again.
So I'm sick.
Yeah, like dude, that tea was like, I was like, what? Like, this is not. It's everything's off. It was all off. You could tell it actually was expired. But it wasn't like, oh, just a couple months.
Just a couple months. It's disgusting. What's funny is like speaking of Amish people. So I was traveling. So this was still. No, yeah, I would say this was in July actually. So I went to California.
COVID
so drive. Yeah. So I was driving and I stopped at the border. So basically there's like hotels and shops and they have like a White Castle. So I was like, so let's stop for White Castle, get something to eat. So we walk in, mask up, we get in there and I see these Amish people in there and they have their masks on and stuff like that. And then it just kind of like made me think for a second. I'm like, imagine being Amish and then all this stuff happens, COVID and everything. Like, I'm assuming they have some sort of news outlet or they but just imagine, it's like they're in a whole completely different world from us, almost like a whole completely different reality. Like they don't live with technology, or they do. I don't know. I just assume they don't.
There's a sect of Amish people that use cars, use technology. They just do the Amish thing. Mm-hmm. So who you were seeing, because I think they're allowed to like once a month go out to eat.
Yeah, that's what I think. They were allowed, or do something outside of their.
Yeah, I forgot the exact name of it, but it's like a different sect of Amish where they are allowed to have cars and allowed to like almost like have like the normal things.
Right.
Which is hilarious because it's like, well, then that's not Amish, right? You're just people that like to wear weird clothes.
Because don't they have a certain thing where or at a certain age they let them go out, right, into the world and experience the world basically, and they choose whether they want to stay Amish or pretty much live their new lives, which can also coincide with the devil all the time, dude, because you have this religion or however it is with Amish people, this Amish culture, and then you're introduced into our culture, say necessarily with everything, and you're like, oh, I like this. Like, started seeing, strip clubs and things like that. You're like, oh, I don't see this back in Amish country.
In Amish,
so I
country, the back country,
But it was just interesting. It just hit me as like, just imagine, just like all of a sudden I have to wear masks and like things like that. Like COVID could like not necessarily be a thing where. I mean, I'm assuming it is a thing where they're at, but it's like all of a sudden your reality is shifted because this new disease is out. So it was just interesting seeing that. I was like, oh man, just like adjusting to the world.
Or just like thinking like, does COVID even actually exist then? If you don't know about it, does it actually exist? Right?
Yeah, it's just another thing. Never hearing about it, yeah.
If you never hear about it, then it doesn't exist.
Because I want to say Jared Leto, right before everything happened, he tweeted out like what's going on, because he went on some like spiritual journey or whatever, and so he had like no technology or anything. I want to say it was for like a couple months, and then he comes back and he's like, what the heck did I just come into? It was like all this stuff just happened. We're quarantined all of a sudden, like so. I just think like if you don't have the news now, you don't know what's going on in the world. Yeah.
And it's funny because like there's a bunch of conspiracy theories like, oh, Jared Leto, he was hiding out because like he was human trafficking. and like shit.
I hope not. I like Jared Leto.
No, dude, me too. Wait, did I ever tell you that I met him?
No, you never told me that.
Okay. Story time.
Story time.
My first ever show was 30 Seconds to Mars, right? We got free tickets because Alan, homie number 6,
Homie number 6.
got us tickets because his uncle is a gambler at the Palms.
Okay.
So we got free tickets. It was during October, so I guess it was for my birthday.
Mhm.
And we saw 30 Seconds to Mars. It was very kinky, very like dildos, and it was an all-age show. I was like, what?
That's interesting.
Like all latex, like a bunch of like super sexual, like ultra sexualized stuff, right?
Oh.
I was like, interesting,
Mhm.
but fun.
Fun.
But fun. And we got done, and me and my homie were like, because also my homie Aljo went with us too, and we were like leaving, right? And I hear this guy on the phone like, "Hey, bro, I gotta go. I'm about to meet Jared Leto." And I heard that, I was like, interesting. I was like, bro, we're gonna follow this guy back, right? Dude, so like in like a secret spy status, bro. He was like 6'5", fat fucker, dude. He was like, gotta go see Jared Leto. So I was like, let's follow him. We started to walk, following it. Security guy had the door open. We just walked through, bro. We're backstage at the Palms. Right? We're walking. We start seeing all this family. It looked like family because there's like little kids there. There were twins. Like, and they all looked like they had money, right? I was like, oh shit, we're back here. I didn't know there's gonna be people like here. Dude, I looked down the backstage, right? It was like all these designers, the green room, everyone, right? Jared Leto's walking down towards us, bro. Dude, and in the look in his eyes, because we make eye contact,
Right.
he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like in his eyes, though. And I was like, "Dude, he's coming. He's coming." My homie's like, "Yo, we gotta get out of here." I'm like, "Bro, but he's coming right now." He's like, "No, dude, this is weird." I was like, "Okay," and we just left.
Oh, dude. So you didn't get to actually talk to him, or?
But like he was literally right there. Like he came
Uh-huh.
to the group.
So like there was like he was like right here, and we were like there was like a line of people like waiting to meet him, right?
Okay. But you guys weren't in the you guys were like with his
Yeah,
family.
we were in the posse.
Yeah.
We were in like the big posse group,
Okay.
Right?
but and then we just left because my homie's like, "Dude, this is fucking weird."
Yeah, like get out of here. They already knew. He was like, these guys aren't supposed to be
Like-
here.
You guys look like children because we were. Like I already look like a child. So
Right.
like back in the day, childish. You know what I'm saying? Like
I was even like super So we left. But it was crazy, dude. First concert backstage.
That is crazy.
Gnarly.
It's just crazy how far you got without anything. With like security was just like, oh, he's following this guy, so I'm gonna let him in.
Yeah, because it was like the huge guy and then just like 3 kids. Right? So in his head, he's like, oh, it's this guy's kids.
Yeah, he's there. He's with him or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And because what I found, dude, is if you act like you're supposed to be there, no one says shit to you. Like, dude, I've snuck into a play. Bro, I snuck into this play, right? It was in Seattle. It was like noon. Like tickets were like $300, right? I was like 19. It was like I was with my ex, and I was like, yo, watch this. We're gonna sneak into this, right? We literally just walked in, acting like we knew what we were doing, and just went and sat down in the back and watched the whole entire play.
Oh dang.
And just walked out. Like, bro, I'm telling you, if you act like you know they're supposed to be there, they're not gonna say shit to you.
So they won't stop you.
You're invisible.
You're invisible. Which is actually true. Like I had a moment like that. So this was last year. So in Vegas we have this nightclub called Dre's nightclub. It's also a day club as well, but I went to the nightclub, so it's nighttime. But there was like a secret guest, so it ends up being Post Malone, and we get there, and I remember walking around, and he's coming out to stage, and me and my friend were walking. I think we're like getting ready to meet back up with our group, probably just got some drinks or something. And I'm like, oh shoot, he's coming on. Like, let's go see him. And he's like, oh dude, do you want to go see him? And I'm like, in my mind, hearing my friend say that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I just said. Like, we're gonna go in the crowd. Let's go watch him. He's like, no. He's like, you want to go see him? I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, so we end up walking, and there's like, so backstage, there's a bouncer or security guard there, and he was like, well, you need wristbands in order to get back here. And I don't know, because like clubs are loud, so I can't really hear, but my friend's talking to this guy the whole time. So he's knowing the right things to say. Like he was like, hey, I'll slide you like some money, just 2 wristbands so we can get backstage. Whatever he does works. Gets us wristbands. So he was like, all right, obviously don't put these on here. Like go somewhere, put them on, don't get caught. So we go to the bathroom. And we're like getting ready to put them on, like I'm using the bathroom, and there's a security guard. I don't know. He comes in the bathroom. I think he sees my friend with his wristband, and he ends up like taking his wristband away. My friend's just like, go, like get out of here. And I run off with my wristband still. And so I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I go back to the bathroom where my friend just got caught at, but like everything's cleared up. There's no one there. So I try to put on, and the original like bouncer, he comes and he's like, yo, he's like, what did I tell you guys? Like, you're not supposed to get caught. So he ends up putting my wristband on, and I go backstage, and I'm watching Post Malone backstage, like where all his posse is and everybody. So I'm there backstage, and then the show ends, and Post Malone's walking around, and like he's leaving. So I end up just kind of like, all right, following his posse in this line. And I'm like back, so Dre's has like, because they serve food and stuff, so I'm like in the kitchen area of Dre's, like where only the workers are supposed to go, like following Post Malone and his posse. And like we get behind backstage, and we go past it, so there's like elevators to get up into the club. So we're getting to the elevators, and like everyone's getting on the elevator. So I was like, all right, this is my moment, act like I know everybody here. So I'm like, oh, just kind of walking, and the security guard's like, whoa, like stops me dead in my tracks. And I was like, oh, I thought this was the exit, like to get out of the club. So yeah, I didn't make it to the elevator.
Dude.
But even as far as I did make it, I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. Everyone knows I'm not supposed to be here.
Dude, that shit's so funny, bro.
Crazy.
Dude, but yeah, it's weird because you could just like sneak into shit that like you think, because like everyone's human, right? No one exactly knows who's supposed to be there, right? It's this like idea of fake, like, oh, this is security. You can't come in here. Like,
Right.
You don't know who I am. Like, even like famous people, like I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about how like even famous people, they're like, who are you? Like they couldn't even get into a club. Like, hey, this is my friend. Can he come in? They're like, well, first of all, who are you? But
just think how bad that would be. Like you're finally at a place of fame and you think like, oh, I'm famous enough, and someone's like, who are you? Just your ego just instantly goes down.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something.
Oh shoot, my bad. Cut you off.
No, I'm just being distracted right now.
Also, what's funny is we were talking, and as you were talking, something just fell behind you.
What?
Yeah. Like slowly went somewhere, and then all of a sudden just. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you. Remember EDC? We did the same
EDC.
shit
Oh yeah,
for the VIP.
for VIP. Yeah, just it literally just snuck you into VIP. You just
We just went at the same time.
at the same time. And there's so many people going. Like there's no way to monetize that. They're like, if it goes green, all right, come in.
They weren't even caring, dude. They were just
No.
like,
Just standing there.
like, you know what I'm saying? They're just like,
Like I'm just trying to have a good time, man.
How was that?
So that's the key of the story, dude. Just act like you belong. Act like you belong there.
like right now on this podcast,
Yeah, we're
You
acting like
belong.
we belong here.
podcast universe.
Oh man. Yeah.
But
What do you rate The Devil All the Time?
What I would rate it, I would give it a a 6 out of 10 because it's entertaining.
Interesting.
But like you said, it was a slow beginning for me. And I don't know. It just wasn't like it was cool. Like I'll give it more points because it's cool how everything like wrapped up and like everybody basically meets each other. But yeah, I'd give it a 6. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I'm
Interesting.
Sticking to it. Sticking to my guns.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with an 8.
Oh, with an 8, better than Tenet, huh?
Yeah, bro.
Dang, son.
Because the difference between Tenet and The Devil All the Time is The Devil All the Time had an over plot. Like it had so much plot, 5 plots, and they were all very detailed. A lot of character development. I mean, not as much as I would like. Like I would have liked a little more character development, but other than that, I thought it was like I could follow the story. I love multi timelines. Like back and forth, talking about, and they're all interconnecting, dude. I love that because that's just like art, right? It's just like having all these characters intertwine with each other is just like it just makes me happy.
Yeah, and those storylines I feel like it's hard to execute. Like if you can't if you don't do it right, then it just like doesn't make sense. But like I did like that aspect. It was just like you said, it was like all these characters in a world, and it was like, is it destiny that's leading them to it? It kind of leaves it up to the audience. Like, is it destiny that all these people's lives cross, or is it just pure chance? You know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like with life, with our life, like, is it pure chance, or like are we destined to meet each other? You know?
Is it like chaos? Is chaos reigning? Right? Or is it just like we're just following our parents' footsteps and we're just repeating every mistake?
Right.
Like we're just like there's just our DNA from our parents, and it's kind of like a combination of their DNA, and which puts us into this like the storyline that we kind of just follow. I mean, right? Because it's like we have a sense of like what's right and wrong, and like where we should go or what we want to do, but then again, it still feels like we kind of just like are being kind of pushed a certain direction, right?
Yeah, it does feel like that. We're like kind of being pushed a certain direction. It's weird how it feels like that, right? Like you're kind of like, it's like generational stuff. So it's like, even like if you want to say this movie is like almost him, well, I guess we'll call it generational curses, but I mean, it doesn't show past Willard's or Tom Holland's father, how his grandpa was, or you know.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So it was like, I don't know if you want to say if it was like each generation, but it was like him kind of breaking away from his father, and then even think like the birthday scene when it's actually Tom Holland now, the actor. The uncle gives him his dad's gun that he gave him, and it's like Arvin's battling with his father, like mentally, or like just everything his father's done. So he's already like, I don't want anything really to do with this guy. And now you give me something of his to make me like think about him again. So it's like you see that kind of battling, and he's like, oh, this is the best gift I ever got, or whatever. And it's like obviously he's just kind of like, man, I'm trying to escape this, you know?
Exact. And it's violent. It's violence.
It's
He
violence,
literally gave him violence. Like that's what that's what a weapon is. It's literally the word violence. It's like, here, use this, right? Like, you have a gun. Yeah, like just like the army introduced violence to his dad, the grandpa was like, here, boy,
take this gun.
Be just like your father.
Right.
Be a violent man.
Pass it off to you.
Yeah. Because that grandpa was just kind of like just a chill dude. He's just kind of like, I mean, we had to watch you, so.
Right. So here you go.
Here you go. Because wait, how old was he turning? I forgot. Was he turning 18?
Maybe, because he's still in high school.
Yeah.
I would say probably like 17, 18.
Yeah.
He's already smoking and drinking.
Dude, I was like, when he like went out and like smoked in front of his grandpa, I was like,
Mhm.
boy, you better watch out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Man,
oh wait.
and it's like this character, he like never really. I mean, I'm sure he had a childhood to a point, but like you said, all that innocence was taken away from him once his mom died. That's when kind of everything. Or no, I wouldn't even say that. When he's introduced, when him and his father go out and his dad beats the crap out of that dude, he's already like kind of like his innocence is already. You kind of see it dwindling away already. I would say that's when it started.
Yeah, and I think that's when I think that you're right. Like where it's dwindling, right?
Mhm.
It's dwindling in that fight scene. Like, oh, my dad's a little violent, right?
Right. Yeah.
But what seals the deal is when he killed his dog, right?
Yeah.
Because dogs are
that's-
100% innocent, right?
Mhm.
So like, God, dude, it's just violence and death and no more innocence. And I mean, I guess that's life, right?
Mhm.
Like whatever affects you, and I guess it just your perception on how you take what violence and like death is.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of what's almost weird about like because like religion kind of like no one's scared of death in religion, right?
Mhm.
But then also when it happens, it just like is like it's such a negative thing instead of a positive thing, right?
A lot
like
of
a weird-
grief and
Yeah, it's like a weird thing. It's like you're supposed to because like oh now you're going to heaven, right?
Mhm.
But then it's like, but this is super negative. Like it's
Right.
affecting me, which is like the devil all the time, right? Because you're caring more about yourself than the person
Mhm.
actually dying and going to heaven where you want to be. Because for some reason that's your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
Right.
this weird like contradiction and just like, yeah,
As Oliver. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and like I said, just having that, grief and sadness, when, losing a loved one, like knowing that person is no longer there. Like you say, you have that thoughts like, oh, they're in a better place now and they're finally at rest, but it's like it does affect you. Like you're grieving and now you're dealing with the pain of that loss. So yeah, a lot of he's introduced to a lot of pain and stuff. Yeah, poor kid.
All,
Yeah.
like, never dated a girl, never kissed one, just beating heads in.
Right, literally. Yeah, because when his dad beat the dude, like he basically like told him it was okay to like do that,
100%.
like find that moment to fight someone or violence basically. Like violence is the answer.
exactly. Which that's just like another just one of those seeds that just kind of set you down this path.
Hmm.
Right? If someone says something's okay, then you're just like, okay, I guess
Right.
this is how we deal with this shit.
Exactly. So it's like the seed was planted in him, and it was like he's trying to break away from his father, but it almost comes like full circle. Like now he's back. Like basically became what he didn't want to, but it's also too. I think what him wanting to go back maybe kind of forgive his father, maybe like when him burying the dog's bones, I think that was like a sign of forgiveness. Because even there's a scene when Arvin and Lenora, that's her name, right? Yeah, Lenora are sitting at her mom's grave, and basically they're talking about her dad, Roy, the when how basically they don't know where he's at. They're like, your dad could still be alive, and she's like, yeah, I've already forgave him, basically, like no matter what he's done, like I've already forgave him. And she's like, what about your father? And he's like, what about him? Basically just wasn't want anything to do with him. So that just made that scene significant. When he gets handed his dad's gun, he's like, he wants nothing to do with this guy. And it's like no matter what, it's like he keeps getting brought back into his life.
Yeah, and another I think take. Do you think he
Lost his religion? Did he stop praying when he got into the hippie van? Was that symbolic of that? Like to like instead of like violence and like for some reason this like praying and violence, this is what happens, right? Loss of innocence, murder, like molestation. He's leaving that behind and going to the big city,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where it's more accepting and more
equal, more kind of like liberal, I guess, right? And like more peace loving and more like love everyone.
hmm
Do you think that symbolizes him not praying anymore?
It could. I feel like when he basically gave up the whole religion and everything like that is when basically seeing how his dad was the whole time and just kind of remembering that. And then once he lost his dad, I think he just kind of, he was like, I don't want any part of this because he ends up moving with his grandma and Lenora and they're churchgoers and stuff like that. And you can already tell he doesn't want really anything to do with it. It's kind of like I said. I think he links it with his father, and it reminds him of his dad. So he just, like I said, doesn't want anything to do with his father. So,
But doesn't he go back? Remember at the end of the scene when he goes buries the dog? Remember, he's at where he was, like the cross was, like where his dad was murdered.
right. That's
Right.
when he buries the dog bones and and then his dad's gun.
It's
All
kinda-
right there. Like I said, kind of bearing that, putting it in the past, like burying it and moving on.
Moving on
Yeah.
with the
Moving
hippie.
on. Yeah, moving on with the hippies.
And then he became Charles Manson.
Yeah, Charles Manson.
That's the real. That's the real right there.
Right. That's why I thought they zoomed in on, like they made him seem like he was an important character.
Exactly,
So I was like, is this about to be Charles Manson or something? Because I mean, it's around the time, the '60s,
Exactly. Yeah.
so could be it. But yeah, ultimately, I'd give the movie 6 out of 10. Still recommend it. It's entertaining. I do like those style of films, like mystery, thriller kind of thing. So it was a good film.
Good.
A lot of good
Yeah.
good actors in there. Good cast for sure.
Good pick.
Yeah, good pick.
Good pick.
Picks. So that really did it. You know,
Yeah.
good people. I mean, I think it's number 6 on Netflix. Yeah. So it's up there. It's in the top 10. So I'll definitely recommend it. Man.
100% recommend. Ka-chink.
You got Kendall and Adam thumbs up. Like,
Yeah.
each thumb. Yeah. Thumbs up or thumbs down.
For real.
I'm excited to get to that movie where we're like, do not watch this.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
I couldn't even finish.
Oh man,
So this movie was trash.
dude. I guess it's that crazy force, you know.
Yeah, that force guiding you.
The devil's all the time, man. It's in our lives
Just in our lives all the time.
all the time. I mean, what could you say you learned from the devil all the time? Like one thing that sticks out that just like,
Sheesh. Don't kill people. Don't murder. It just, I think what it stuck out is like things, like so many things going on behind the scenes that we don't know, like whether it's just like in a small town, religious aspects and just things like that. It kind of opens your mind to it a little bit.
yeah, it's like, I think for me, it's like if there's like if something's too complicated, something's going on.
Right.
If someone's putting up a front and they're trying really hard, they're talking a lot, like they're trying to like say things, trying to like make you like look at yourself and be like, is that wrong? Like second guess yourself, right? Gaslight yourself, right? Like that, because like that's what the preacher was doing to that girl, right? It's gaslighting, right?
Believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, nah, dude, didn't happen.
Right. Didn't happen.
Like, get rid of it. He was like, well, if you do have a baby, get rid of that shit. Like,
Right. Get rid of
Like
Just-
it's so crazy because
wild,
it's
yeah.
just, if things are too complicated, simplicity is the way to go. Like being a genuine person who cares about people, right? Because that's kind of like what Tom was trying to do, right? He was trying to just be, he was simplistic. All he knew was violence, right?
Mhm.
And that's what he was good at. Revenge, like in protecting himself
Mhm.
and just trying to make it.
Like he wasn't playing into this like super complicated ways of life. He was just doing him because he saw that being like going to war, like like trying to like fit in, right? Because I think that's also another part was they're trying to fit in.
Mhm.
Everyone's trying to fit in, and
Trying
you
to
can see it
fit
from
into
the bowling.
mold.
Yeah, because they were like bowling and like, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. Yeah, and like I said, and how you're saying just like a simplistic, like basically they're like, "What are you doing after school?" He's like, "I'm gonna go do construction." Like he's just trying to live an honest lifestyle. That was
Exactly.
it. That was it.
Just working
It's just working.
and revenge.
And revenge. And revenging.
And then he became Spider-Man.
Right. Then, yeah, this was the events leading to Spider-Man.
Yes. And then yes. And then Batman became a preacher. So
Yeah, Batman. Yeah, he turned into Batman. Vengeance.
oh man.
But so
Yeah, man. Trevor Wallace was hilarious, right? His opener is his homie from the podcast was
Okay. He blew it that night, huh? Just straight bombed.
just bomb, dude. Cause like he started out, he was like just talking, right? I was like, okay, let's work this in, right? I'm like, I thought he was gonna like introduce himself or like like say some jokes about Cleveland. Cause we drove 2 hours to fucking Cleveland to go see these Trevor Wallace guy.
2 hours. Jeez, that's crazy.
Jesus Christ, I know.
How was
But free
the
gas.
venue and stuff with like COVID and everything? How did it work out?
Okay, so it was like packed, right? It wasn't sold out. It was
Right,
packed.
but it's back.
But they put plastic dividers in between everyone.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so it was literally just like we had to wear a mask and there's only one way you could walk,
Mhm.
right? And then I saw no different. Like it didn't feel any different than going to a normal show. It was actually nicer because then you have this divider. Because like, dude, the tables were like super close.
Oh,
Like, what?
okay.
Because it was like a huge. It was like a bar. What was it? I guess it's not. It's not bar seating, but it's like when they say you want a table or do you want to.
What is it, like seat at the bar? That's usually
No.
what I'm asked.
That's my
Table or
my
seat
normal
at the
restaurants.
bar?
The bar.
The bar.
No, it's. I forgot. I forgot what it's called. But it was pretty much just like couch seating. It was like a huge couch.
Oh, like a booth.
Booth. There we
Yeah,
go.
table or booth. There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Next up on the game show.
Table or booth.
But dude, we're like literally like that close.
Oh,
Like-
dang.
Like the booth was the whole length of the club, right?
so it would have been weird without the plastic.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
Yeah.
Just
Especially-
shoulder with the
Yeah,
person
just like,
next to you.
Hey,
give him a
bud.
little, give him a little kiss.
Look,
if you want.
on the cheek. Have fun. But
Sick.
yeah, dude, he bombed. Like, cause he started out blah blah blah. He looked cool, but then he like came out with this. He's like with like a baby voice.
Oh,
like,
I
you
hate
sing-
baby voices.
Yeah, like he was like using his baby voice because he was so nervous. You could just see him being nervous. And I'm like, ah, dude.
And you just like feel bad. You know?
Like, this is not funny. And then doing crowd work. He did like a solid 15 minutes of crowd work. But awkward crowd work. Hey, you're hot. Like, that's what he said off the bat, bro. Like, off the bat, he was like, you're hot to this chick. So, are you guys together or what? Like, weird. I'm like,
No.
with the baby voice?
Yeah, with the baby voice, you're bombing, dude. You're not picking up this chick. Well, maybe if she thinks she's getting close to Trevor Wallace.
Exactly.
You got to get through me first.
Real. But yeah, I mean, Trevor killed it. I mean, you could still tell that like since COVID, right? So they're still kind of warming back up into the
Yeah.
scene. But he killed. Like you could tell that he's on the come up, you know.
Oh, he's really funny, actually.
Yeah.
He's a
And
funny
dude,
guy.
he looked at my story.
He did?
Yeah, like I tagged him. I was like, he killed it. He looked at my fucking story this morning because I posted it this morning at like early as fuck, and he looked at it. I was like, sick.
I noticed that after I saw Theo Vaughn, he did like a little meet and greet after. So this is, pre-COVID, before COVID was a thing.
Yeah.
And I posted the picture of all of us, and I was like, met this dude tonight, and he viewed the story. I was hoping he was going to post it to his story, but no, he just viewed it, which was still cool. I was like, this guy
like,
saw a blue check
am I
mark.
famous?
There, right?
Yeah.
So I got famous people.
You know who did post us?
Who?
Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon posted you guys?
Dude,
What?
yeah. Dude, Tim Dillon, like I posted like, can't wait to listen to this to like the car ride home or to work. It was to work. And I tagged him and I tagged our podcast. And he reposted it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, bro.
The followers are just going to start flooding. Flooding in.
We're in this.
We're in it. We made it.
We're comedians now.
We're comedians.
We're comedians. We're headlining already.
Already. Yeah, we could do like a duo comedy set, I guess. Is that what it's called? A set?
Well, I guess we could just do a live podcast.
We could. I was thinking about that, doing like live and stuff like that. Just
Dude, we keep working on this. Hell yeah, live
got
podcast.
this. Yeah, live. People ask us questions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Talk to your favorite podcasters. Ask us anything.
Hell yeah, dude.
But,
so after I saw Trevor Wallace last night, we went to this restaurant called Johnny's. I'm gonna blow this spot up, right? This is this place, right? It's an Italian restaurant, and the ambiance is fantastic, right? Super classy, bunch of rich people there, right? And I was like, okay, this sounds nice, right? Dude, first off, we order, right? This lady that looks like she smokes 2 packs a day goes like, "What do you want?" I was like, "You have a drink first?" Like, we have a full bar, no full menu for cocktails. So I was like, okay. Let me get an old fashioned. My girl got water. Very drunk. Drank a lot, dude. We drank like a half a bottle of Patron. We got like 3. Like we probably had like 12 drinks.
Oh,
like a 6 each.
Party.
And then like they had a pretty good menu. I was like, oh, this looks delicious, right?
Okay.
We get our stuff super quick. I was like, wow, amazing service. We start eating. I'm like, what is this? No taste. It tasted like nothing. I'm like, what is this?
That's bad knowing you guys are drunk too, and there's still no taste.
100%. Dude, she's like, how's everything? I'm like, first of all, I'm trying to understand what this is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, maybe it was just this area that wasn't seasoned. I kept eating. Nothing. Even the meatballs, the veal meatballs, nothing. It tastes like just meat.
Unseasoned.
And then my girl got the gnocchi. And gnocchi is really hard to do, right? Dude, this gnocchi was paste. It was like they just like dunked them in water and just sent them out. It tasted like dough.
Yeah, it already has that texture too.
It was like toothpaste. It was like, it was the worst meal I've ever had in my life. And that's what I'm talking about, because I've never felt so disrespected. And then the salad, dude, they brought a salad out. It was just leaves.
Ew.
It was so bad. And like, she was like, okay, how was it? We were like, it was disgusting. Like we told her straight up.
Right, so it's not good food.
And then the old people behind us, they said the same shit to their waiter. They said,
Really?
"This tiramisu is disgusting." And dude, this place had like 4.7 rating.
Oh wow.
And that's why I told my girl, I was like, we're never coming back to Cleveland ever again. Like, it
Never
was literally
again.
just the worst experience.
Oh my gosh. Maybe it's just a bad night.
Yeah.
The chef wasn't having a good night.
Change of management or something. Have you ever had like a bad food experience? Where you're just going out, you're like, what?
What is it? I'm trying to think recently if I've had any where I was just like, this is terrible. I can't believe, because it's weird with me. Like, if it's edible, like, I'll eat it. Like, it's.
Me too. Me
like,
too.
It's rare if there's times, like, I've had bad, like, experiences where they took forever to bring my food out, or I was the last one to get my food. One time, I was eating with my family, and they forgot my food. The server, like, my family's, like, halfway done with their meal, and they're like, how's everything going? I'm like, I haven't gotten my meal yet. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot your meal. I was like, geez, well, there goes your tip. Can't just forget my food. Like, what?
That's the worst. Because, like, when I go to restaurants, I tip 20%, 30%. However, like, the service is, right? It's always a minimum of 20. But if it's better service, I give a bigger tip, right?
Mhm.
But I always just review the food. I'm never I never complain. I never like, oh, this is disgusting. Give me something new. I just like rate it and say like, yeah, this wasn't good. But it's usually edible. But for some reason, this place, it was just not even acceptable. Like I've had better food like that was frozen at my house. Like gnocchi from Trader Joe's. They're already cooked and everything. You just throw them in, cook them. Better than that shit. You know, like there was just like and then like it was like the biggest lie because the ambiance. It said it was the best bar in town too.
Mm-hmm.
The old fashioned, bro. Literally it was like they took whiskey and they put a bunch of water in the whiskey because they're running out, and then they made a drink. Like there was like bitters. And it looked like a cockroach. It was like at the bottom. And we told the lady, and she was like, "Have you ever had a old fashioned before?" I'm like,
"Listen here, man."
I'm like, "What? What?" Like, I've never been so just like spit on at a restaurant, bro. That's like legitly what it felt like. Like, so fuck like Johnny's
trash.
and Cleveland. Never go there, ever. Burn it down. I'm sitting BLM over there. Shame everyone. Shame everyone for eating at this restaurant.
If I server Miriam.
Yeah. Dude, did he hear about those like the protest in like Rochester, New York, where they're like going to the restaurant, like inside the restaurant and shaming people for eating? What?
No, I did not see.
Dude, look up these videos. It's the most fucked up shit I've ever seen. Like,
just imagine you're eating. You're like, why are you here?
Dude, they're like yelling. In there, like, what are you doing? You white privilege. What are you doing? Like, what?
Oh, dinner and a show.
Like, what do you mean? They're eating at a restaurant.
Right. They're enjoying the food.
Like, how is that activism?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
When you're shaming people for eating.
It's just bored at this point.
Exactly. It's just COVID, blues, bro.
Yeah,
I think
COVID blues.
Like COVID hell got to people, bro, and people just kind of
knocked a couple screws loose.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a crazy time we're in, dude. What a crazy time.
So George wanted to say hi.
Oh, little kittens mittens. What's up, George?
He's been watching.
He's just
been watching you talk. He's like, this guy's interesting.
He's like, I'm enjoying the stream, dude. This is good.
Sick stream, bro. He's like over here drinking my beer now.
Nice. Sipping on the beer.
Oh, dude. So I got this at Trader Joe's. This beer, it's a Peter Brand's class. It's a Dutch style
I don't even know how to say it. Pilsner?
Oh, Pilsner.
Pilsner. There we go.
Yes,
Pilsner.
Yeah, there we
I like
go.
to Deutschland.
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 Deutschen.
It's a Dutch style Pilsner from Deutschland.
Live from Deutschland. Oh man, that seems pretty good. How would you rate it? Pretty good.
I
taste.
rated I give it a solid 7 for being a light beer.
Light beer. Ooh, okay.
Because I'm usually in that dark, that 8-9%, that thick, the THICC beer.
Those lagers, dude.
Yeah, then lagers and stouts.
Logging them hours, bro.
Logging them hours. What do you prefer?
I'm more of a light guy myself. Like it's hard. I'll drink dark beers, but it's just so heavy to me. I don't know. And also too, fun fact about me, I can't burp. So,
Dude, I'm
crazy,
new
right?
news for me, bro. What happened?
You're like thinking back. You're like, I've never heard you burp. You're right, dude. It's all coming back to me. But yeah, I don't know if it's a mental block or if it's something physically wrong with me where I can't burp. But I just, for whatever reason, I can't. Maybe because it's like I hate throwing up, and maybe burping is like reminding me of throwing up. I don't know. I'm just
like,
kind of diagnose myself.
It all comes out the poop chute, I guess.
So when I drink these beers, I'm just extra bloated. So I try to stay light. Usually I'll hit hard liquor too, because that usually doesn't bloat me as much. So I'll go a nice tequila OJ.
Oh, dude, tequila all day.
All day. That's all I can drink. Because even with dark liquor now, the hangovers are so bad. I can't
Dude,
do it.
You gotta try whiskey. Some like quality whiskey, dude. Like $60 and up. I know there's other whiskeys that are like cheaper that are probably better, but from my experience of a whiskey drinker,
A whiskey man.
a whiskey enthusiast, 60 and up is like the sweet spot, right? 60 to 80, that's a good price. Get a bottle, and like you don't drink that much. It lasts a while, right? Like 6 months. Because you just a little half a glass, you sip on that shit, gets you nice and toasted, and it's delicious. Especially like I had this one from a Colorado brewery, and it was smoked whiskey.
I've had smoked whiskey before.
It was smoked whiskey. Yeah, and then I got a peach whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Mix that shit together, bro. Put a little ginger syrup. And drink that. Oh, dude, that was my drink, bro. No ice.
Whiskey sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it was like peach pie, bro.
Ooh, okay, that might be something. I'm a fan of peach, so that might have to be something I'll look into.
Yeah, dude. Like I just sit back, just business,
I remember I went to, so we have a whiskey lounge. I'm sure we probably have a bunch of whiskey lounges out here in Vegas, but the one I went to, the specific one, it's in Town Square, which is a mall in Vegas. And I went there and they had like an aged whiskey. I don't know. I'll say 12 years. It's been sitting there for 12 years or whatever. Probably not how many years it was sitting there, but I want to make it sound fancy. And I tried it. Dude, it tasted just like cork. Like it was like wood, like a smoked wood taste. And I guess people prefer that taste, but to me, I was like, "Oh, this is just too smoky for me."
Oh God!
I felt like literally I was just drinking the smoke from a barbecue or something.
Yeah.
Just
Dude, that's
drinking
how
the wood chips.
That's how that smoked whiskey was. Like it was like that smoke taste. That's why I always just mix that because it's sweet.
Okay.
It was like smoked peaches, and it's like, oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, soothe the throat a little bit. Maybe that's what I gotta do.
Yeah, like I found this drink. It was called it's called Coffee and Cigarettes, right? And I first found it I was just looking up like coffee, like liquor drinks, because I love coffee in my liquor, right? So I was in London and I was like, yo, can you make this? I just showed him my phone. I was like, yo, what's up? He's like, hell yeah. Dude, he made this drink. He tried some. He's like, yo, this is fire. And he gave it to me for free. Right? And dude, I've done that 3 times. And they always gave it to me for free because they're like, oh, we're putting this in our arsenal. I was like, oh, a little donation.
A little
donation. Little curator of drinks.
We're going to test it out on you first. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, have you ever had I think it's an Irish car bomb?
Yes.
Yeah, those are pretty good. See, I can drink those, and I'm usually not, because what do they put in? It's like some sort of liquor.
So it's Guinness, and then it's Irish whiskey,
Irish whiskey.
but it's the Irish coffee whiskey.
Yeah, it's like a coffee taste. Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I blanking on what that shit called? But yeah, so like you take the glass and you just bloop.
Boop. Bottoms up, dude.
Dude,
And you chug them. You chug them. Jeez Louise, dude. I should take a couple of Irish car bombs right now. Dude.
Yeah.
Get
Bro,
the lips loose.
Speaking of Irish car bombs,
So story time.
Sorry, Tom.
I went to this festival. Sorry about that. Redo.
festival called Riot Fest, right? And it was the craziest time of my life because like I went there by myself to Chicago first time. I went to this festival by myself first time, right? Met this dude first time.
First time also.
And we're like, yo, dude, you're here alone? I'm here alone. Let's do this.
Oh,
So we just went into this festival, like met with a bunch of different groups of chicks. We just do like a circle, bro. Like, oh, hey, what's up? Hang out with them. Oh, hey, what's up? Hang out with them. And then we finally ended up with these two chicks, and they're sisters, right? I was like, hell yeah.
Sister action. Right
Sister. Sister action. Right? So we're like, yo, let's go to a bar. So we mosey on over. I rented a Kia Soul, dude. It was a green Kia Soul. Like, sick ride, right?
Sick,
We're
right?
like, I guess. So, I was 20, right? So we went to this bar, and I went to tell the guy, I was like, yo, here's my ID. Dude, this guy was fucked up. He's like, oh, yeah, here we go. So I literally gave him a 1993. It said I was 20. And they're like, go ahead. I was like, fuck yeah. This is the best night of my life. Because the whole entire time I was there, that guy was buying me drinks.
What?
Yeah. He was like, oh, dude, you're good. Because he was like some kind of like investor down in like Boston or something.
Oh,
Like he had
gotcha.
money. So he was like, yeah, dude, you're good. Because I couldn't buy a drink. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Sure.
So we get into this bar with these girls. I was like, let's do Irish car bombs. And they're like, I haven't done that in, I don't know, 10 years. Because they were like all older.
Oh, dang.
26. Like the one girl, she was like 30. The other girl was like 23. So I'm like the youngling, like car bombs. And they're like,
So who
college?
invited this guy? So I remember
Yeah.
one of my college days.
So we do car bombs, bro. And I literally like, you know when you drop the glass in?
Mhm.
Dude, I dropped the glass in and drank it. Fucking like, douche.
Oh,
Fuck,
God.
it hurt my teeth so bad, dude. I started to like cry. Because I was like so drunk and it was like, ow.
Making sure your teeth are still
They're
there.
like, who's this fucking pussy?
So you're crying?
Yeah. Dude, it was so fun because after that, me and the older chick, we banged. Even though he was macking on her, bro.
Mhm.
Right? And then the younger sister was like not even with it. She was like, I'm going to bed. I got poetry to write. She was like one of those like crazy like poetry writing girls, like super sensitive. I was like, okay, go. So he was macking on her and he just like went to bed and passed out. Bro, we got done banging. We come back out drinking some more. He comes out. He said, guys, my pants are wet.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what? He's like, I think I pissed myself.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, a 26-year-old man pissed himself at this girl's house. And I said, I don't know this guy. I just met him. I was like, this is the most embarrassing moment with a bro that I just met I've ever had in my
Right.
life.
Can't
Like,
be bros anymore.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, we got these girls we're going to hang out with all weekend. No, sir.
Yeah. Not if you're pissing yourself.
Pissing on our fucking spare bed.
Right. Oh, God.
And but it's funny because this girl, I was like asking for Adderall. Dude, she gave me her whole script of Adderall.
I'm like,
Uh-huh.
for free. So you can have it. I'm like, okay.
Sure, I'll take it.
I guess.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's my long ass story because of Irish car bombs.
I read said that's where Irish car bombs came from.
Yeah, that's their birthplace. I created Irish car bombs.
I created that. That's how they started.
I am Irish, so
I am Irish. It's not even a good Irish accent. I don't know what I was doing. It's like an I am Groot accent.
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. Hey, so this painting right here,
Oh, yeah, it's a sick painting.
I created it.
Oh snap!
Yo, like we were me and the girl, me and the old bag.
Oh, ball and chain.
The old hole, you know. So we took edibles, illicits.
Illicit.
It's actually legal in Colorado. So
It is legal. So, is it mushrooms illegal now too?
well, it's decriminalized.
Decriminalized. Okay.
But hold that mushroom talk. But we did. We were pretty much tripping hard, bro, and we're just painting and shit, right? Dude, what came like in the dark? Like it was candlelight.
Oh dang,
Darkness, right?
that's pretty trippy.
Right? Dude, what came out was a fucking guy flying a UFO. Like, I'll bring it closer. Bring it closer.
Dude, because from this angle, it kind of looks like a pineapple.
Exactly. That's at first, like, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, it's a pineapple. Like, that's what I'll make. But then, do you see the guy?
Oh yeah, I see him.
Yeah, bro. What
That's
the?
pretty trippy. What's it like? You bring it close. That's trippy.
Right? Isn't that so weird, dude? The way he looks, too.
Right.
Like, look, that's like a whole panel. He's like yellow, like gold.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like flying through space.
He's flying through space. Just searching for the good times.
Like that's the fire and shit. Like
Yeah, I see it.
But then look, it looks like a pineapple with an eye also.
Yeah, so I also see an eye almost.
Yeah.
And it's crying a little bit.
Also, this is for sale.
This is
DM for prices.
It's cool. It looks like the leaves are wrapped around the pineapple as well, too.
Yeah, bro.
Like it's like shielding it.
Just so trippy. And that came out of me, man.
That came out of my little trip, dude.
I came out of my mind hole. Have you been doing any more art? Because remember you drew.
Yeah,
I saw on your shit. I was like, holy fuck! Like, it blew my brain, bro. I was like, what? We got an artist.
Got an artist in the building, dude. I need to get back into it more because it was like that day I drew that, it sparked something, but I haven't drawn since. So I'm like, dang, I need to really get back into it because I want to start like a little art page and start drawing, dude.
Hell yeah,
Get to the old drawing board.
Yeah, I heard there's this podcast called the Entropy Podcast.
Oh,
You probably
yeah.
advertise.
Probably advertise the art page on here.
No, yeah.
On that sweet new podcast that's out.
I heard it's pretty sick.
It's pretty sick, dude.
It
These
is.
guys are pretty cool.
Guest appearances, doggo, cats,
Yeah, doggos,
doggo
cats.
voices,
Some barking, you know.
some, Chloe yelling, some boom, boom, boom.
It's just a close up of Zoe.
Yo, you know what I was thinking? We could like cut that and like have it as like the like the beginning,
The
Like
thumbnail.
the thumbnail. That's the word. Just like,
Yeah, just Luxy Fluff.
Lux and fluff.
Luxy Fluffy.
But hell yeah, dude, that's sick that you're gonna start a art page.
Yeah, thinking about that, dude. Who knows? Maybe that's my calling.
Hell yeah,
Just drawing,
drawing and podcasting.
podcasting. I'm just a man of many trades, you know?
Yeah,
the
dude, like,
jack of all trades.
Hell yeah, just like my like First Way Travel, dude, and
Mhm.
like Chloe's page is just like starting them, just doing it.
Just do it.
Like
Just doing it.
it's crazy because like I got 100 followers on both pages.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so it's just like just doing shit. Just like I'm just literally just. I mean, that's nothing compared to everyone else.
But it's a start, dude. That's 100 people followed who are like, hey, I'm interested in this stuff. Like, hey,
Yeah.
man,
It's like, oh,
it's still cool. It's progress.
it's progress.
And
Yeah,
especially just starting, too.
it literally just started
Yeah.
a couple months. Like, what?
Look where you're at now, man.
Yeah,
It's
A
blowing
podcast.
up. Yeah, podcast. Who would have thought? Who would have thought I'd be
just
here?
like 2 Instagrams would just direct me to podcasting. That's weird.
That's weird. It's weird. I don't know how they connect, but
Should we
I'm
have like
here.
an ending saying?
Yeah, I was saying like we need to
Like a ending,
something.
like that's all, folks. Or
So legally, I don't think we can say that. So we might get copyrighted for that.
or that's copyright.
Yeah, that's copyright. Sid, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
That's-
for having us, guys. In your
that's-
ears, your minds, and your souls.
in your souls.
Because we're coming back here with God, Jesus Christ.
delusions. Delusions.
It's all a imagination.
Imagine it. Sid, strap on your boots. That could be our opening, dude. Strap on your boots.
Strap on your boots, and it's just like a bunch of cuts of us just like laughing.
I know.
Chloe like walking across.
Oh man. Yeah, a lot
Hell
of
yeah.
podcasts, but it's just fun. So next week, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Down.
So that's our movie.
Yeah, dude, and I like the way you did this one too, because like you were kind of like you were very like solid, right?
Mhm.
Like you kind of like really followed the scenes,
Right.
and then I kind of put my take in on it, and you put your take on it, and then you just kind of kept it going.
Kept it, kept like the movie. We were just bringing the plots back together.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were just connecting everything.
Yeah, which kept it like a solid, because I sometimes go on tangents, saying crazy shit.
That's the point of That's the point of this podcast.
I know. I started to say some stuff, and I was just like looking at it. I'm like, where I'm going with this? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, bring it back. Bring it back.
Bring it back. And then my fucking girl was standing right here, dude. I'm like, I can't focus. Like, I can't.
Oh,
Like,
you
I
threw
feel
it
almost
away, yeah.
embarrassed, dude. I'm like,
It's a big. Not right now. No.
we're running around,
I'm
dude.
in character. You guys are making me break character.
Because like it is a trance, right? To keep
Uh-huh.
talking like this and to like keep on bringing it back and like
Right.
not having dead space and like knowing when the other person's gonna finish talking, when the other one's gonna start up,
Mhm.
and to like go on to the next topic.
Right.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. I can't wait till we have like the actual in the same room ones. Those are gonna be
Oh,
good cast.
even better, bro. Even better.
That's when
Maybe
it's
like
blowing
we could
up.
do. Maybe we could do one around like Christmas or Thanksgiving,
Okay.
because usually that's when I have time off. I could take a little Spirit Airlines.
Airlines down to good old Vegas.
Yo, did you see that video of that chick like yelling and saying that she's like a queen, and she's like, yo, this chick was like, she's like, because like a airplane attendant was like walking,
Uh-huh.
right, and of course you don't see the beginning part, right?
Right. You only see that part.
Yeah, what I'm assuming happened is like she was like walking, and the lady was about to go to the bathroom, and she was like, "Man, please seat. I need to get to my area. Please take a seat.
Right.
We're about to take off." And she just got pissed off. She was probably on some pills or something, you know. And she was like, "I'm a queen. You and your white privilege." Like I was like, "Oh shit!" And she started talking about like we're the chosen people. We're Israel's ours. I'm like, what?
Oh my God, yeah.
What are we doing?
As soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh, here we go.
What is like?
As soon
Just-
as Israel's brought up, you're like, oh.
Yeah. I was like, wow. But it was just funny because like all these cameras were on her, so she was just
Uh-huh.
so it's like, I want to go viral. So she just
Yeah.
kind of leaned that shit in.
So this is my time. This is my time to shine.
Like, I'm a queen. Like, yo, you're in the back of a Spirit Airlines. What are you talking about? You're next to the bathroom, like the second row on Spirit.
So you didn't even make it to the coach, or you didn't even get first class
On Spirit Airlines.
on Spirit Airlines. Welcome to Spirit. She's
Dude,
got
I don't even
Spirit.
think they have first class in Spirit.
No.
Their
old
first
Spirit.
class is a seat that doesn't smell.
Doesn't have any stains on it.
Dude, that shit gets so dirty, dude. Like
Mm-mm.
when you look next to the seat and shit, like all the crumbs sound like the cookie crumbs and the pretzel crumbs.
Pretzel crumb.
Like, has this been cleaned?
When's the last time it's been cleaned?
Yeah.
The seats smell like straight fart, dude.
You're like, well, at least I get to go where I want to go. For cheap.
For cheap, yeah. Good also. This podcast sponsored by Spirit Airlines.
Spirit Airlines. Guinea you go, even though it sucks.
Even though it's. Oh, man. I've flown with Spirit one time, and I flew out to Seattle. So
Okay.
from Vegas to Seattle, about a couple hour flight. Flight wasn't bad. Nothing to write home about. We actually got there an hour early than our actual arrival time, so it was cool. And then like our flight attendants were like, pretty much hyping that up. They're like, well, guess what, everyone, we're here an hour early. Bet you can't get that with so and so airline. Maybe they said Southwest, I don't know. But basically having us, we're like, all right, cool, let's get out of here. And like, but for whatever reason, they wouldn't let us off the plane. Like it was like, so say like 10 minutes go by, and it's kind of like, all right, like they're like, we're just waiting for the mechanic to come and set up the whatever thing so we can get out of the plane. But we're just sitting there, and they're like, yeah, there's only one mechanic in the whole airport, and he's at another I don't know, whatever they're called, setting up their thing so people can get out of the airplane. So we end up sitting there for an hour.
Oh my
in this
gosh.
airplane, and we're like, everyone's like, people are starting to freak out now. Like people are like, I gotta get out. Like people are starting going crazy. It's almost like a science experiment, or not a science experiment, like a sociology experiment or something. And you're like, when do people start cracking? Basically,
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
start cracking. I just hear in the background this scratchy voice, and I just hear. It's just one of those ladies with the little voice box thing. She's like, let us out. She's like, this is treason. I was like, geez, lady, we're not in the 1800s. Like, they're going to let us out sooner or later. Like, she wanted to hype everybody up, but no one could hear. I could only hear her because she's right there. Like, yeah, let us out. It's bad, dude.
Funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
And then they're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. So they back the plane out, and we drive over to this area, and they let us out into a shuttle bus, and we're like driving across actual air, like the airspace into the actual airport. It was ridiculous. I mean, it wasn't Spirit's fault, but I'm blaming Spirit for all those events.
I think the best part of that story is that you guys would already be on the plane anyway for the hour.
Yeah, for the
And
hour.
just because it's on the ground, everyone's like, ah! Like,
Freaking out. Like, it's starting to settle in that we're stuck on this plane.
it's like, so you rather be an hour in the air than an hour on the ground?
Right.
Fuck! Put us back up there!
Get us out of here. Just losing their shit, dude. It's crazy.
Hey, bro. Dude, I think one of the scariest moments I've had on an airplane was like, we fucking landed and they're like, everyone please stay seated. We're having difficulties with the door. I'm like, okay. Just sitting there. Bro, a bunch of fucking cops went, woo, 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 woo! Rolled up, dude. Took a guy off the airplane, bro. I'm like, they can do this shit? Like, that like blew my fucking mind, man.
That is crazy. Just rip the door off.
Get on the knees.
Get on the ground. So, whoa.
I'm just trying to go to Vegas, bro.
Yeah, so look, I'm just trying to get off this plane, man.
Like,
What? I wonder what he did. Like,
Right.
like what? Because I know like with drugs and stuff, if they like check drugs, they just throw them away.
because they don't.
Sure.
Like, if they find him or something for some reason, they throw him away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he must have been let's say like for the law, right? He's running away from the law, like had a warrant or something. That's probably exactly what it
A
was.
real criminal.
Like a real criminal, not like me.
Now,
That was summer of 2012. Looking for money, the homie, right?
yeah, with the homie.
I was guilt tripped into doing this. I was forced by my will.
Right.
Just like the girl in All the Devils.
Right.
All the time.
All the time. I was forced into this.
The Devils all the time. My bad. Wrong name.
Wrong game. Yeah, bring that back.
Bring it back.
But yeah, man. I mean, this is a good podcast.
But yeah, bro.
All right, bro.
Love you, dude.
Love you too, man. Till episode 3, dude.
Clap your hands once, clap your hands twice. Now is the time for the news to hear it comes. Clap your hands once, clap your hands twice. Open your arms to feel a dip in your heart. Full of joy and full of love, you will find whatever you need in those arms. If you can hold, you can get whatever you want. Full of joy and full of love, you will find whatever you need in those arms. If you can hold, you can get whatever you want. Clap your hands, clap your hands, clap your hands.